All right, y'all. Welcome to All Politics and Local, America's number one political hip hop radio talk show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics and Local. So listen, up first, of course, tonight is going to be the Disciples, so we're going to have a brother who's going to be their guest tonight, who is the new pastor. So they'll tell you about that at the New Psalmist Church for one of our co-hosts. So we'll talk about that tonight up front. And then, of course, after that, Brother Zaid, you have a rundown for that. You're muted, bro.
I think you maybe getting a little static. Check the sound. 7 o'clock. We were originally going to have the great Charles Barron on, but he had a schedule conflict. We're going to have Racquel Romance Henry from Salvation and Social Justice. The Justice Department just dropped a bombshell. Well, it's really not a bombshell. We knew it was coming, but the community may not have known it. Bombshell investigation saying that they're definitely out of line and abusive with their police, and there's some things that need to happen as a consequence of that. 7:30, serious discussion about what mass deportation, Trump style, is going to look like for Black immigrants, for those immigrants that look like us, those he calls the ones eating the pets and having our people whipped on horses and whatnot, right? Our folks, Nana Gyamfi, tough people's lawyer, out of the left coast, and Serges Demefack, right here in Newark, has been on this question for a long time. We're going to lift that up, right? So we're really looking forward to that. And understand we got a guest that's going to talk about some boxing, Ed. Who's that? You muted, Ed.
I'm telling you, you muted and I'm muted, bro. So we're going to have Nas come on tonight, the brother who runs the boxing program up there for the mayor in the city of Newark. The brother's name is Brother Nasir Derrick Graham. He runs the boxing. He's the boxing coordinator for the City of Newark at the Newark Boylan Street Recreation Center. So he's going to talk about the last mayor's boxing program that's going to take place, of course, this Saturday at the down at Kennedy Recreation Center at 211 West Penny Street. So he's going to be on at about 8 o'clock, and so we're going to get a chance, Brother Zaid, you and me to go down memory lane, brother.
Yeah, about that. We have been down that road. Yes, sir.
Talk about that, what that was like when we was poking back in the days, man. So, but is that you, Zaid, with that feedback, or
I thought it was you.
nah? Is that you, Brother Haqq? You have some feedback over there?
I don't hear anything, brother. Everything sounds clear on my end.
He sounds clear on my end too.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I can hear it. So, but we'll press forward and see what happens. I hear it. You don't hear nothing coming from y'all?
No, sir.
Okay,
Right.
then what I'm gonna do is go out and come back in.
Yeah, right.
I'll let y'all have it. All right.
Right on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna give it over to you, Brother Haqq, and you and Zaid can make it.
Thank you, Brother Ed. Once again, brothers and sisters, my name is Brother Haqq Muhammad. I'm the student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Brother Muhammad Mosque of Islam, number 25, which is located here in the city of Newark, New Jersey. And once again, we're here for another show. Thank God by His grace that we're here for the disciples, my illustrious co-host, Reverend Pastor Roundtree. I don't see her, nor Sister Ali. I don't see her neither. I'm pretty sure they'll be on soon by God's grace. But I have here my brother, who's always here with us. He's a disciple, a revolutionary disciple. Brother Zaid, he's no stranger to those of us who are here on the disciples this fourth Friday. Brother Zaid, I know you really don't need no introduction, but just as a formality, dear brother.
We all ride together, beloved. We all ride together.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right together. Some of that static may be me a little bit. Yeah, I'm hearing a little bit now too.
Oh,
So,
you hear some static?
Yeah. So once our co-hosts come in, I'll go out, come back in too. I don't know. I've been having some connection issues, right? There's always plenty. There's always
Yeah,
plenty.
well, it's good to see you there, brother. A
You
lot has
always
happened. A lot has happened over these past several weeks in the political sector. We know a lot is happening here in the city of Newark, in the state of New Jersey, from the weather, um, to all that we are seeing in terms internationally, with the ongoing war in Palestine and Israel. We see what's happening definitely in Ukraine, and just so much happening. We see Trump, the people that he's picking. That he was elected. Kamala Harris lost. We see a lot happening in the world of hip hop. So much is going on. Um, locally as well as internationally and nationally. Um, so we thank God that we're here with everybody today, and that He's given us another opportunity to come and give our perspective as to all that we see. Um, Again, my co-host is not here, Reverend Roundtree or Sister Ali, but they definitely here in spirit. But we have with us Brother Ed and definitely Brother Zaid. So, Brother Ed, I know we, by God's grace, going to have the brother on from New Psalmist, God willing. But I don't know if you want to kind of get into what it is that Brother Bashir sent you in reference to him just being in trouble, concerned, the scripture that he wanted to lift to hopefully bring some inspiration and hope to the people, who may be concerned or who may be troubled, at all that they're seeing, all that they're hearing, all that they are witnessing and experiencing. So I don't know if you wanted to do that now, Brother Ed, or maybe wait for Reverend Roundtree and Sister Ali and the brother, hopefully. But if not, then definitely we can lift it up. I don't know, Brother Zaid, I know you always have so much information and knowledge to share. But we had a particular direction that we wanted to go in reference to what it is that we see happening. And I don't know, Brother Ed, maybe you want to share how that came about, you speaking with Brother Bashir and him lifting that scripture.
So, well, let me just show you this. This came for Balena.
I see my sister.
Yeah, she's gonna be out. You got a little house.
Right.
Oh man, we definitely praying for you, sister, and congratulations again, our brother, street name. We're so happy. We definitely keep you in our prayers, my sister.
So, ever since the election, Bashir has been a little depressed, about where things are going, and and I've got to say myself as well, concerned about where things are going and so forth, and so he was saying that particularly with all of these crazy elections, crazy appointments that Trump is appointing. Folks who have absolutely, no experience whatsoever. And we were talking about that, Bashir was saying, man, I'm trying to, get some understanding from the Quran. I'm trying to get some understanding from the Bible. I'm trying to, understand who we are. And, and we all have heard this saying, welcome, Sister Roundtree.
Good evening.
So we all have heard this saying, right? That nothing happens but by God's permission. And so he was asking the question. He said, why would God allow this to happen? Why? And then you see all of these crazy appointments. And so one of the scriptures that came up was, for me in my prayer meditation time, was Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. And it says, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength.
Yep,
They
mount
will
up like
soar
skinks, yeah.
on the wings like angels. They will
Yes.
run and not
And not
grow weary. They will walk and not
nothing.
be faint. Right?
Yes.
And so what kept jumping out at me Brother Haqq and Roundtree, was the word "but." You know how someone says, "I love you, Roundtree," but Haqq
Well, that depends
Muhammad.
on what verse. That depends on what interpretation you're reading too. Is that right, Minister Hawk? That
Yes, ma'am.
because people have a way of twisting what they feel. In the Quran, it is what it is. Whatever's written is what it is, and you know, break it down according to what it says. If you take the 23rd Psalm and you say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," that also means that the Lord is going to be a provider and that He's going to guide you. The problem is, and I hear what you're saying about. You're right. You are 100% right about the permission piece, but there's a piece that people always want to blame God for decisions we make, and that in there lies a problem with me. When people say it was God's will, when God gave us our own free will, am I right, Minister Hart? Tell me if I'm wrong, correct me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I'm not here to say you right or wrong, Sister Roundtree.
No,
I
no, I
think,
don't mean wrong. I'm talking about the scripture, what the scripture states.
oh, yes,
When
ma'am.
when Job, when Job, I'm not talking about me. I didn't say
Oh,
this. I mean, like, we weren't there when any of this was written, but this word, the Quran and the Bible are supposed to be words inspired by God. It was written by
right.
man. But the truth is, here we go with the but. that the brother Head is talking about. When Job was considered, it was because God told Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job while he was roaming the earth to seek who he could devour?" But
Right.
in that scripture, his will was what Satan was asked by God. He said, I'm going to let you go ahead and try to get him, but don't mess with his will. And Job had a will to just do right by God. In spite of First Lady Job said, "Why don't you just curse him and die?" We
Right.
make decisions. We make decisions. We make decisions. We can be coerced. We can be, there's a whole lot of words you can use to determine why we do what we do and why things turn out the way we do. But at the end of the day, we have choices that we can make. And if we choose a thing, we can't say, "Well, God wanted us to choose that thing," unless we know it's right for the people. And anytime you know that you're doing justice, oh, shucks, I just missed my turn. Anytime you know you're doing right by the people, well, what people? What people you trying to do right by? I believe Trump believes he's doing right by a group of people. That group of people just isn't us.
Hmm. Right.
I'm just saying.
No, no,
So,
we definitely respect and appreciate what you're saying, Reverend Roundtree. We definitely hear you, dear sister. I don't know. Were you finished, Brother Ed, in terms of what you were
Yeah.
saying?
So so
Yeah.
so when when I was hearing that, what I see is that the scripture in and of itself is saying, don't put your faith in Trump, don't put your faith in his system,
absolutely.
put your faith in God, put your hope in God, right? And that's what was so. In other words, what I was saying to Bashir was is that, so when I read that scripture, and yeah, I hear all of that Bashir is saying is concerned, but then the scripture says, but here's what God says, right?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
yeah, it's true. He's appointing all of these people who are pedophiles, and these people have no military training, but put
Yes,
your hope
Lord.
in God, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
put your hope in God, right?
Right.
And that's what was jumping out at me, and because that's what it seemed like people need at this moment. They need some hope. They need something to hold on to, because so many people were disappointed by the loss of Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I think, Brother Ed, I really appreciate that and what you shared,
That's good.
Reverend Roundtree, and we are a very diverse people, uh,
Yes.
people of different faiths, um, traditions. Brother Zaid, many of our, brothers and sisters that we walk with, our nationalist community, they come more out of the quote unquote African tradition, in terms of belief and faith. But from this
Right.
perspective, Brother Ed, I think, historically speaking, when you look at black people in particular, I'm speaking about in this country and all that we've gone through and all that we've suffered. We know Genesis 15:13 says, and the Lord said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed will be a stranger in the land that is not theirs,
Mm,
shall afflict
mm.
them 400 years, and also that people whom they shall serve without judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Right? So we know scripturally we can see black people from Genesis to Revelations in
Yes.
terms of suffering and oppression and injustice and
Yes.
disappointment. But we have always been a people of strong faith and strong will. Many of the
Yes.
great Christian traditions that we hold dear to today, they came out of struggle. They came out of oppression. They came out of us being killed and murdered,
Yes, sir.
and lynched and hung. Many of the great hymns that we sing, the great gospel songs that we as black people love and that the world love. Much of our music, blues, jazz, it came out of suffering. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan one time asked us, where would we be without pain? And he talked about how pain is not a permanent condition and that pain is the mother of creativity. And when you look at what pain has allowed black people to be able to produce in
My
terms
Lord.
of this music, in terms of science, in terms of innovation, in terms of ingenuity, many of the great patents that we see that black folks have created and invented, they came during the time when we were being crucified and oppressed and, under great stress and great
Yes.
strain. And I think that what we see today in terms of Black America, I'm speaking about particularly us being disappointed in the loss of Kamala Harris and all that we see Trump doing. I think that what we're seeing is not necessarily new to Black people, um, you know, but we are in this moment in time. And I think that scripture is very important. And it's a scripture that Black folks in particular now have leaned on, along with
Mm-hmm.
many other scriptures that we have leaned
Right.
on. One
Right.
being Proverbs 3, 5,
5 and 6.
6,
You took
where
it
it
right
says,
from me.
trust in the
Trust
Lord
in
with
the
all
Lord
thine
with
heart,
all thine heart.
and
Lean
lean
not.
not on thy own understanding, but in
Acknowledge.
all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct
You
thy
shall
path.
direct your. And you took that to spirit, and
So,
we are divinely connected,
right,
minister. Because I
trust.
was getting ready to come back with that.
Yeah, trust in the Lord with all thine heart.
Trust.
Not with some of it,
Nope.
but with
All.
all thine heart. See, we got to trust in him with all of our heart and lean not on our own understanding because, you know, our understanding is very limited.
That's
But
right.
God sees all and he hears all. But it's very interesting that scripture says, Brother Ed, but wait on the Lord. So to
Yep.
wait requires patience.
That's
And to
right.
be patient is to suffer. So
That's right.
coming from the biblical tradition, we see that there were many prophets, those that God loved, and they had to wait on the Lord. Job had to wait on the Lord. Jesus
That's
had
right.
to wait on the Lord. But we see that the Lord never forsook them. He never forsake them. And no matter what kind of disappointment they suffered, or grief they suffered, or despair they suffered, their faith was strong. Noah, a
And
man, preached for 150 years that water was coming. And he's building this ark on sand and people mocking him and laughing, but he had what? Faith in God. But the Bible says in Hebrews 11:1 that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things
the
not seen.
evidence of things not seen.
So we know
All in
what
my
God has
hearing.
promised his people. He said, for I know the plans that I have for you in Jeremiah
Not
29:11. I know the
plans.
plans that I have for you. They're plans of what? They're
Hope.
plans of hope and good and salvation. So
Yep.
God's plans never fail. You
That's right.
understand? Although we may not understand it, it may not always go the way that we desire for it to
That's right.
go.
That's right.
But the scripture says in Romans 8:24, for we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. So what a man seeth, why do we yet hope for? So as a people, we've always been very faithful, and God has never let us down. Yes, we've gone through very difficult time periods and difficult trials, but the scripture says, Reverend Roundtree and my brother that's on, in Acts 14:22, that through much tribulation we will enter into the kingdom of God. It never said it would be an easy time. I didn't read
Never.
that in the Bible or the
Never.
Quran, where none of God's prophets or messengers had an easy time, or those
No.
that followed them had an easy time.
Never.
God called Moses, but Moses still had to fight Pharaoh's army. He still had to go through the Red Sea. So we should never think that just because we have faith and trust in God that we not going to be tried and that we not going to be tested.
I think
That's
that's
not in none
people
of
are
the
missing.
scriptures I
Yeah,
read.
that's the
God
misconception.
God removed the hedge from around Job. And Satan said, if you do that, he'll curse you to your face. But Job lost all his possessions. But in the end, he never gave up on God. He never lost hope in God. He never lost faith in God. He lost all his possessions and material things, but his faith and trust in God allowed him to get more than he lost. And I see this, Brother Ed, as being another Job moment for Black people in America. We lost, we down, maybe some of us, but we not out. This is only going to strengthen us even more, I believe, produce more resolve in us and cause us to be more creative. Because sometimes when we do get what we want, we can get very comfortable. We can get very lax.
Yep.
So, I have nothing but faith and hope and trust in God. I had trust in God before the election, and I got trust in
And
the
Yes,
God,
ma'am.
election.
wait a minute. God has sustained us before the election, and God is going to sustain us.
I got
Everybody's faith is not, the
I got
message you're
trust in
giving
him
is
now.
connected to the same message that Brother Ed just read. It's all centered around faith and hope.
Right,
Everything that you're saying, everything that Brother Ed is saying. But let me tell you, the reason why, and you said it yourself. We get things too easy. If stuff is just handed to us, sometimes we don't even know what to do when it comes that easy. Do
right,
with it. So thanks be to God. I know that there's going to be some suffering. I know there's going to be some tribulation. But I don't know. I tell the young people, you don't know nothing about civil rights. You don't know nothing about Jim Crow. You don't know nothing about the folks coming over in ships packed like sardines, from the continent. They don't have no idea what the feeling and the blood that ran in the water, the oceans. They don't know. They don't know. Suffering didn't just come when Trump ran and was in office 8 years ago. That's not, they didn't just start then. And it's not going to stop now. Some stuff going to be taken from us, some madness. And this is really crazy when you got prophets, because the prophets are the ones that's supposed to speak to the kings. And people lack, what do you say? People perish for the lack of knowledge. The Bible speaks of that. And what's so unfortunate that those who might be speaking like a minister Abdul Haqq Muhammad to, I don't want to use the terminology king, but to a higher power or person position, if they don't listen and want to do it their way, is why we end up in the situations we are in. Everybody can't be right. Somebody has to have a spirit of discernment to say, this is coming from God. This makes sense. This is
right,
this is for the people. But if you don't have a spirit of discernment and don't care about a spirit of discernment, and you want to just do what you want to do, such as this young man that's in office right now, and it's going to be sworn in January, we have to just live with it. And I know we're gonna make it. I just don't want to start getting so down. My staff came to work the next day, and yes, we were all broken. I don't think that, what the greatest loss to me was, Minister Abdul Haq Muhammad? My mother. That I thought that nothing could be worse than that until I started sitting with other mothers who had lost their children, or who had lost their job, or who had loss is loss. But what I
right,
had to tell my staff, when they came into, oh my God, I'm just trying to get it together. I said, well, baby, you better pull up your stuff and get it together, because we still got stuff to do, and we cannot get stuck in the sorrow of what took place yesterday. That should help us realize we
Yes,
got to
ma'am.
even do more than that.
Yes, ma'am. Let me
We
jump in here
we
if I
got to
can.
do. Go ahead,
Mm.
baby.
You warm me up. and I want to hear this young man get in here just like all of y'all do. But
Yeah,
this
we got
Pastor
Pastor J is
Jalil,
on.
Pastor
points of
Right,
wisdom.
our
Jalil,
brother.
Yeah.
that's my son. You
But
see who
what
he
you
look
just
like,
said,
right?
hmm, what
That's
you
my
just
son.
said is a message that I want to send to Hawk's generation and to young pastor's generation. Because
Yes,
this election thing hit y'all generation emotionally harder than the rest of us. Because y'all just had
yes.
different expectations with different experiences. You didn't have
Oh,
the
baby, you got some
experiences you
people.
just
Listen,
laid
our
out,
generation was just
right?
as messed up. I bet you.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. But here's the
mama,
thing: two things. One, the Almighty Quran says, "Do you think that you will go through this thing called life and not be tested when those before you were tested?"
Right.
And the way our ancestors were tested, yeah, you say these kids don't know; they're gonna learn, right?
yes, Lord,
But that test is going to teach them to appreciate what it is that the world we're trying to make and the walk we're trying to have.
absolutely.
The wisdom of our ancestors says the devil comes to what he calls eight evil. And the eight evil that I've been trying to tell young folks to be concerned about is what you just lifted up. We call it paralysis, but underneath paralysis is that untimely, ugly thing called fear.
Come on, sir.
Fear. I'm gonna tell
Come
you something.
on.
Grow up fighting the devil in body and in soul, right?
On,
Right? I done fought me a
on.
whole lot of crackers in and out of uniform. You understand me? I am not gonna live in fear
Come on. Come
or
on.
none of that. If we if,
On.
if we got to train our babies up to fight this devil
Got
in
to
any
know.
on
That's
every front
right.
we gotta fight them on. We gotta get them ready because
The
that's
fight
that's
can't
that's
stop
what
with
faith
us.
is.
It
But
can't stop
never
with
do we
us.
allow ourselves to become so
No.
afraid that we lose sight of the strength that got us through. And what is the strength that got us through? It was the faith of our foremothers and our
For
forefathers.
mothers. That's right.
As you were.
The Sojourner Truths and the Harriet Tubmans and the Fannie Lou Hamers and the listen. What Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed more slaves if they knew they were slaves. All the stuff that these folks have gone through, those that have come before us, and then here we are. And it's unfortunate because the young people don't really, I feel the impact of what they went through just by hearing the stories. Maybe it's because of my emotional makeup that I'm grateful of the time
You need to
that I was
empathize.
born in,
Yes.
because
Carry that.
if
Yes.
we lived it, if we lived in that time today, brother Baba, do you think you would have survived? I mean, when Alex Haley penned the book and they did the memoirs, which I don't know how accurate they were because there was some discussion about that, but just watching the story alone. And then we sit here in 2024 and talk about what this man is getting ready to do, which means we should be more inclined to really not lean on our own understanding and trust in the Lord, and acknowledge God in all our ways, because it's the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual connection that's what helps me get through everything. I'm not everybody. I don't know what helps everybody. I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
floats everyone's boat. But my message is to folks that if you want to be encouraged in the Lord, then you go ahead and trust in God so that God can keep you. Because man will fail you. There's no such thing that says man is not going to fail you. You cannot trust. Wait a minute. Some trust in chariots, some trust. Look,
What
Minister Hawkins. Minister, wait a minute. Listen, we got somebody on the line. First Lady Balena
Bring them
Ali had.
on. Bring them on.
I'm bringing him on right now. Listen, his mother, his bonus mother, did not. What? I feel a lot of feedback, and I know it's not me because I'm sitting in the car. But his bonus mother could not be here tonight. She said she gonna be on. However, Pastor Brian R. Ali took this baby under his wing many years ago, and he was back and forth, back and forth. But I'm gonna just fast forward that Pastor Brian, that I've known for over 30 years, stated to his wife, if anything happens to me, I want you to go find my son, Jalil. Well, she didn't have to go find him because he had been by her side while he was in the hospital, coming back and forth doing the ministry with him. He was trained well. Now he's stepping out on faith. And you know what? Nobody can say he did not understand Pastor Brian Rashid Ali's assignment. And because he
Hey,
understood his
Mom.
father's assignment, he knows what to
Uh,
do.
um,
And he knows, somebody's on the line.
I'm on my way to
And
take Lily to dance. You got to keep my
okay,
mind?
is somebody on the line?
Yeah.
Somebody took the Lily to the dance.
So you're gonna text me when you get back to. Go on.
Okay, whose phone is that?
Right. You gotta go to sleep. I thought
Well,
you
let
was
me
gonna
just
leave me
introduce
over.
Pastor Jalil Marrow, who is taking over Pastor the message, the assignment. The baton has been passed to our beloved Pastor Jalil Marrow. He is now the pastor of the church that Pastor Brian Rashid Ali founded in November of 1994. They are celebrating 30 years of this month. How befitting is it? Happy anniversary once again, Lady Ali, First Lady of this generation, our other co-host that's not here tonight, but most assuredly, we couldn't have done better than to have the son and the man who the baton has been passed to, and that is Pastor Jalil. I believe Brother Ed, which is the producer, Minister Abdul Haq, who has been with your father on this journey since he stepped his foot into the assignment of Mars 25. And Baba rocked and rolled in the streets with him for all the years. So it's now in your hands. You're in good company with your father's brother and mama.
Grace and peace, beloved. Thank you guys for having me tonight. I appreciate Mama Roundtree for always looking out for me. It is good when the elders look out for you. So I want to extend my love and devotion to you, Dr. Roundtree, for always looking out for your son. We don't have a
Love you.
fake relationship. Our relationship is real. And it
That's
get no
right.
better. It get no better than Dr. Roundtree. And thank you, brothers, for having me on tonight.
Thank you, brother, for being with us. Really appreciate you. And we're definitely praying for your ministry and your success. We definitely praying for your spirit there, brother, that God will continue to increase you with spirit and more faith and give you all that, he desires you have, and put those protecting angels around you, dear brother, and your family. And we thank you for being here with us. I don't know if you heard what we were speaking out about. I'm about to say Pastor Ed. He sounded like a pastor reading Isaiah 40:31. But
Sure enough, he's
he
starting
let
to get it.
he read that scripture. I guess to be black in America, you gotta have a little pastor in you, right? So he read Isaiah 40:31. Is that right, Brother Ed? And if you wanted to chime in on that in terms of what we were talking about, black people being disappointed, in particular over the loss of Kamala Harris. Really, not just black people, just people in general was very disappointed. Some were distraught over the loss of Kamala Harris, but we were talking about our folks in particular. So if you wanted to chime in there, brother, where that scripture is concerned, any thoughts you had on that?
I came in and I heard some of the things that you guys were speaking of, and there's a scripture that is recorded in Romans 8:18. It says, "For I reckon that the suffering of this present time should not be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us." I think that people need to realize that suffering is not a bad thing. Suffering matures you. And with this Kamala Harris loss, I think our people forgot there's wins and losses. I know we wanted Kamala Harris bad, but there's always been wins and losses.
Right, that's right, brother.
And I just believe that we were so hooked up on putting a gender, not the agenda. We were so hooked up on putting a gender in the house that we forgot about the agenda, what we're supposed to be doing. And I think sometimes we get sidetracked in thinking that everything is supposed to go the way we want it. But the truth of the matter is, the Bible declares it like this: man that's born of a woman is born of a few days, and a few days is full of trouble.
That's right.
If you're going to live this life, you're going to have some turmoil, you're going to have some terrible times, and you're going to have some moments that's going to shake you to the core. But our people, young or old, need to realize we are a people who don't stay down.
That's
So
right.
no matter what we go through, we're going to keep getting back up. Because that's what real strength is. Not how much you get knocked down, but how much you get up.
Right.
And
That's
although
right.
she didn't win, what we gonna do from here?
That's right.
That's the question. What are we gonna do
Right.
about our politics in our community? What are we gonna do about where we live? What are we gonna do to fight? Because everybody got upset, but a lot of people didn't vote.
Mm.
You can't be upset at something you didn't participate in and making happen. So when it didn't happen, you shouldn't be walking around with your head hung down.
Mm.
If you
Yes,
should
sir.
be mad at anybody, it should be yourself.
Yes, sir.
So I think that we need to look at suffering not as a bad thing, but as something that matures you, strengthens you. God already knew what was going to happen even before it happened.
Mm.
I just believe when God gets what he wants, we'll get what we want. But until God is pleased, we're going to always go through some challenging situations.
Right. That's right, my dear brother. And as you said Romans, I thought about Brother Zaid quoted the Quran. I think that's the 29th chapter where it talks about, do men think that they will be left alone? I'm saying we believe and will not be tried. God says, certainly we tried those before you so that he may know the truth tellers from the liars. And my teacher taught us that a blessed life don't mean that you don't have losses or difficulties or setbacks. But a blessed life means that whatever you have, you rise above that condition for the glory of God. And the scripture says in Romans, brother was in Romans 8:28, we know that all things work together for good. They say that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and those who are called according to his purpose. And we have our people that have always loved God. And it says all things work together. So bad works, you understand, for God's will and God's aim and his purpose. For it says in Proverbs 16:4, for God hath made the wicked, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
Even it says, I'm going to get that right. I want to quote that right there, brother. Proverbs 16:4. And I know, everybody may not necessarily be as astute in the scriptures as those of us who are on here are. It says, the Lord hath made all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of evil. You understand? So we don't know God's overall intent in terms of why he permits certain things to happen and why he don't permit certain things to happen. But that's why that word trust and faith is often repeated in the Bible and the Holy Quran and in most religious texts in the Torah, that we got to have faith, that we got to have trust. In who? Not necessarily ourselves solely, but in the Lord of our creation, because we believe that he is the best knower. He's the best seer. You understand? So we put our faith and we put our trust and we put our hope in him. And we believe that he'll never let us down. Again, we're going to go through disappointments. We're going to go through setbacks. You understand? We're going to go through trials and we're going to go through tribulations. But we believe that ultimately that God is good and that there's no injustice in him. And that if we keep our faith in him, that we as a people will always prevail. And our 400 some odd years sojourn in this country have proven that. I wasn't really necessarily born, but as I studied history, Brother Ed and Brother Zaid and Reverend Roundtree, you all can help me. Black people were very distraught when Reagan got into office. They didn't want Reagan. A lot of people were hoping and praying that Jesse would get in, but he didn't. You understand? A lot of people had their faith and hope in him. And then we saw that Reagan got in. So there were many times that politically where black people were disappointed, where those that we know didn't have our best interest in heart and mind won. And we survived and we lived. Were the times tough? Yes. But it produced something in us as a people that we are still, I would say, benefiting from this day in terms of different movements and different organizations, different coalitions that we had come together and created because the time politically was so tough. And as it was yesterday, I believe it'll be today. I believe that black people are very resilient and that this is only going to bring more of the best out of us as it has always done. Again, I have nothing but faith and hope in God and in black people's resilience to bounce back again from, a situation that's not permanent. You understand? It's temporary. And I believe that we'll get up from this even better than before.
Minister Ali, can I ask you a question? Minister Ali, can I ask a question? Hello?
Yeah, I think Pastor Jay, I think she been referencing you, my brother.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Man, look at Sister
No, no,
Donna. I knew that
I
was
was
Sister
asking,
Donna.
I was asking Minister Ali if I can ask the question.
Oh, go ahead, sister.
All right, how's everybody doing? Pastor Jay, I want to say one thing, and then I'm asking Minister Ali a question. I think it was the agenda that brought us to this race because we were on on point to do a re-election of Biden, where they went behind closed doors and the Democrats has spoke to the Democratic Party, and that changed the agenda. So I think in one instance they listened, he listened, and although albeit short term, um, that was part of the agenda. He listened to the people and to his heart, and he passed the gavel. And then my question, Ms. Ali, I have to tell you, I was very shocked, concerned, because I remember the lines in both 2008 and 2012 to go vote. And I anticipated the same amount of turnout and better. And I wanted to say, put that against that. At one time, this country wanted to be the first, but it seems like collectively, not us black people, because black people, and I want to thank the brothers, they showed out when people expected them not to show up. That this country has just went backwards so many steps, and I just wanted you, can you speak to that? You know, that why aren't we excited about being the first or changing things, whereas other countries have elected women many years ago to leadership of their countries? That's my question and my remark.
I think that was for you, Pastor Jay. Was Sister? Did you get a question, Sister Donna's question? She said, "Why this country seems to be just paraphrasing so slow? We have gone backwards, but why this country seems to be so slow?" And she was saying specifically, electing a woman to lead the country.
I think the ultimate challenge is the communication. Black women all my life have been leading my household. You know, to be honest, black women have been leading my household all my life, all of my life. And I believe that if your mind is not ready for something, you'll fight against it, because it's all about what we seem to be dominant. And I know for personal conversations that I've had with people, a lot of black men wasn't ready for a woman in that position of power. Now, the challenge is, what can we do from here to have conversations to let people know it's not about gender? Not in this season. It's about the agenda. And I think what happens is you had a lot of people who supported enough to see if she would win, but they were distant enough just in case she would lose. And I think they're not ready. I think people are not ready for a woman president, whether she had been black or white, because Hillary did the same thing and lost. So I'm really not thinking it's about a color. I think it's about they're not ready for a female in the White House. I say that for two different reasons. The challenge is, especially in the preaching culture, that's where I'm from, that in the preaching culture, church has been making bad decisions on pastors for years, on who they elect as pastors for years. Not all, but some. But what we need to understand, I never cared about who had the position. The only thing I really cared about was who was the best for the position, whether that be a male or female. All I wanted to be is male or female. That's all I wanted to be, male or female. And I think people have to get out of their minds, woman and man, it should be who's best for the job. and I don't think the country was ready for a female president. I really don't think the country was ready.
So I want to chime in on this because for a woman who was, I'm actually at an event, you guys, at the
We not
museum,
shocked,
and I
Reverend
was able to
Roundtree.
find
You
me a
always
nice.
out there in the field. So.
No.
So yeah, I'm ready to honor some people that have done some in the community, Odyssey International. However, I agree with you, but I also have to point out that she only had 100 days. You know,
That's
the
true.
real truth is, um, being a male and a white one at that, uh, and power. And he didn't just come into office. This is a well-experienced political individual. So you've known politics for most of your life. He's had some hardships. Lost his wife, lost his children, and I mean his child in a bad car accident, had a stroke, aneurysm when he was a little younger, and he's overcome some tragedies. But I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't he have yielded before it was noticed or recognizable that you shouldn't do this, sir? She had 100 days. Trump had been campaigning since January 6th. I think for 100 days, she did a hell of a job.
Yes, she did.
And to be honest with you, it wasn't so much that the the post of people with the ground, but you out here getting consultants and paying them all this money. This woman raised $1 billion and ended up in debt after the election. 100 days, did very well compared. She didn't do as well as we wanted her to do, or as well as she probably could have done. But for 100 days, compared to somebody who's been campaigning for 5 years, putting money into folks' pockets that know that for the next 4 years, we're gonna have to go through something. And a lot of people ain't thinking about 4 years, they think about today. Can I feed my son today? Can I feed my daughter today? Can I pay my mortgage today? And then they think about the consequences after. People of faith thinking, listen, this is a favorite, but you can't pick your consequences. You don't know how you're gonna pay for a decision that you make or for a sinful act. You don't know how it's coming back. So you gotta be careful when you. So I didn't mean to go do all of that, but for 100 days, for what she did phenomenal. And if those around her weren't spending so much money on consulting, and I'm gonna just put it out there, you had people raising money in the name of Kamala Harris, and of course, Kamala Harris didn't get all that money. If I started to raise some money under a foundation I had, I'm not obligated to give her every dime I raise. That's even with elections. I can do a fundraiser for somebody and put their name on it and just write them. I can raise 50,000 and just give them 5.
And
Because of the commitment. So
Reverend
all of
Roundtree,
that, all of that being wrapped into
you there,
all
Reverend
those things
Roundtree?
factored into the laws. And on top of that, let me just say this and I'm gonna shut up. On top of that, the electoral, I've been saying this since we've been on this radio this America's number one hip hop political Brother Ed producing radio program, Facebook Live, that this electoral college, if we don't find a way to abolish that, we're gonna always be running around here trying to figure it out.
yeah,
Because Hillary did win, if I'm not, tell me if I'm wrong. When I looked at the results, she won the popular vote, but she didn't get the electoral, that there.
He won the
Anyway,
popular
so that
vote.
means,
There
yes,
should be a move next to get rid of the electoral college,
yeah.
which is rooted in protecting the tax and insurance interests of the slave traders in this country.
that's
And it
right.
needs to be done.
Yeah, that's where we need to start. We need to start educating and start working our way on how to remove the electoral colleges and look at
I've
the
been saying this for
benefits.
the past 15 years.
Hmm.
Do I have to go out there like me and Baba and stand in the middle of the street like Pastor Ali and we scream for reparations, reparations, reparations? We talk about Nat Turner. We talk about all these things. We talk about it. We march about it. But do people care so little? That's what I mean about whose people? Whose
Mhm.
people? We doing right by God.
We got to get, and Dr. Rountree say it all the time, and I'm being kind tonight because I don't want to get myself into trouble because I'm always in some type of trouble. But the
That's
sister
Pastor
asks,
Ali's son.
why didn't a woman become president? And, what was the big issue? It's hard as hell being a young pastor in the city of Newark.
That's right.
When you got a lot of older pastors who look down on you because they want you to be as old as they are. People are not
Or
ready
do
for
what they
change.
say.
Right? Or people want to have some type of, y'all done got me started. People want to have lordship over you. Because if I can control you, you'll never succeed beyond me. And my father always taught me that I must go, so you should do greater works. That there's going to come a time where I'm going to have to step to the side so you can step up. And the challenge is we got too many people, like she said with Biden. You was older, you couldn't even talk. You waited until the last minute. And it's a lot of people. That's why I understand why everybody's so upset. It's a lot of people who should be gone but stay over the time they should have been.
That's what it
and
is.
they ruin, and what happens is you ruin the movement because you give no space for anybody to stretch.
Hold on. And while they stay, they haven't even prepared nobody to take over. That happens in government. I said about Uncle Sharp. He was in years. And time he decided he wasn't going to run or couldn't run. And I love him.
Pastor Roundtree.
Wherever she is, she froze.
I think she froze, man. I'm sorry, but I have to go. But I just want to say this, and my teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan, has been always very adamant in terms of, the disrespect and the devalue of women. And he have taught us that a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and that the woman is the mother of civilization, and where there are no decent women, there'll never be any decent men, because the woman is the mother of civilization. We know that there's a hadith by Prophet Muhammad which says that heaven lies at the foot of woman.
That's right.
And it's not just America, but it has been in the world for the last 6,000 years in terms of the disrespect and the devalue of women, men not knowing the divine value of woman, to push the woman back. In religion, there's been so much sexism in religion, in Islam, in Christianity, in Judaism, where the woman can't study like the man can study, or the woman can't lead the church or the
Talk
mosque.
about it.
You understand? She can give birth to our children, but she can't. She
Lord
can
have
give
mercy.
birth. She can give birth to Jesus, but she can't preach Jesus. She can give birth to Muhammad, but she can't preach Muhammad.
My Lord.
So the hypocrisy that we've seen in, not just politics and not just America, but the world in general for the last
That's right.
6,000 years.
That's right.
This misogyny that we see that man has exercised. And my teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, have taught us that the reason that the world is in the condition that it's in today is directly related to the disrespect and the devaluing of women.
Yes.
Because the woman is the one that God has chosen to give birth to humanity. And if she's not respected and she's not treated right, then how can we ever have a decent society if the woman is not made to be made knowledgeable? He said the home is not the woman's place, but that's the base where we grow from that place and we go out and we conquer the world. But I wanted to say, I know Brother Zaid probably is very familiar with this book by Ivan Van Sertima called The Black Woman of Antiquity. And it shows you the value that I'm talking about black men and people in particular had where the woman was concerned, where she was able to be in government, she was able to rule, she was able to be a teacher. So this is a new phenomenon where black men are concerned. in terms of us not understanding the value and the sanctity of women. We've always understood the value, the sanctity of women and her importance. So when you go to Egypt and you go to many African countries, wherever you saw the statue of the man, there was right next to that statue a statue of a woman, because we knew her value and we knew how important she was to us, civilization, and society. So this us not respecting women is a new phenomenon. Even in the Christian text, the book of Genesis, where it says that the woman came from a rib. My teacher said, no, if the woman came from a rib, then she's inferior. The woman came from where the man came from, God. Our essence is from God and her essence is from God. And we as a people will never go anywhere as long as we continue to disrespect and devalue our women. Don't give her the proper treatment that she deserves. Don't give her the proper respect that she deserves and that she's due. And as long as we continue to behave in the way that we behave and where our women is concerned, I don't care how much knowledge we have, how much money we have, we never gonna amount to much until we respect our women. And I know many are on here saying, well, yeah, the woman gotta respect herself, and this is true. But my teacher said to me that there's no such thing as a no good woman. Anywhere you find a no good woman, there's a no good man.
That's right. That's right.
And brother Abdul, I'll go on record saying in my father's voice, my mother raised 4 grown-ass men. Raised 4 grown men who are comfortable in their manhood. And she raised us on a broken back, who went to worked 4 jobs to make sure her men, I pastor a church where I have 4 women preachers. And I will always respect women, because guess what? When a man didn't step up, a woman came through for me.
That's right.
I will
that's always been the case in our history.
Woman, because I was born on the back of women who knew how to take care. Watch this, not disrespect us, but they made sure that we grew up having the things that we needed. So if anybody get mad with Pastor J, yes, I support women. Yes, I'll push women to the top. You know why? Because my mother bust her behind to make sure she raised 4 grown men without a man's help. I respect men, but I got to tell you the truth. It was a woman who got me to where I am right now. It's women who stand behind my ministry right now. There's not many men. It's a lot of them, but it's a lot of them around, but not a lot of them who help me. It is women who helped me get to where I am. And I celebrate all women. If you don't like me, y'all know where I'm at. I'm at the new Psalmist Worship Center with my women.
Yes.
Tell me that's not Brian Ali's son.
That's right. That's him. Well, Brother Ed, Pastor Roundtree, thank you so much, Pastor Jay, for coming on. Brother Ed, I really appreciate you. I love you, and Sister Kim and Sister Donna. I'm so happy to see you. And Brother Ed, man, tell our brother Jonathan congratulations, and I hope you get a nice tux. And thank you, but I gotta go. May God bless us.
All right, brother.
I love you, Minister.
All right, peace, brother.
To God be. But see, I tell you, that's my listen. You and what every chance I get. Every chance I get, I encourage him in front of people. I mean, Lady Balena will tell you. Well, first of all, she ain't the only one, because I'm already Auntie Roundtree in the family. But outside of that, before he became or was positioned at New Psalmist, he was already positioned. Somebody already spoke the scripture. I know the plans for you and the plans to give you hope. There's hope for New Psalmist. There's hope for Pastor Jalil. And I tell, when we get in a room full of pastors in my meetings, Brother Ed, in our meetings, they're not my meetings, they're our meetings, I can have 40 preachers or 200 preachers. I tell them all while he's sitting there so he can hear me telling them we need to encourage them.
That's right.
We need to encourage our young men. The elders, look, when I was growing up, my mother had all kind of senior pastors. There was, Reverend Cantrell. There was Horace Sharper, which was a community. There were preachers that did some stuff. Reverend C.H. Thomas from New Hope. These were some pastors that were shakers and movers. Reverend Pierce from Clearview. There was some Reverend Foote, Reverend Means. These were people that came along before I was born, but they were pastors that took care, and I believe that We're not a perfect people. We are peculiar people. That's what the Bible states. It does not say we are perfect. So we all make mistakes. The problem is so many people focus on man, they can't even get the mission right. And our mission is to uplift and encourage our young people. And the thing went out. I lost my signal when I was saying that when Uncle Sharp was in office for 36 years, it's so unfortunate that after being there all that time, most of the times either young people want to take your place as opposed to waiting to fill the space, being properly trained and qualified. And those who are able to do it don't stay the course. Those who want to do it, they should say move themselves out before they get to move in and settle. So we got to do better for preparation for the next generation. That's been the thing I've been saying for the last 10 years. That's been just a quote from me. Preparation for the next generation. I'm not going to always be here. I have a foundation in honor of my mother. I got a granddaughter, 10. We can't force them to be what we are, who we are, but we can let them be themselves and just guide them along the way to say, I'm here for you. And a lot of times I find that if you just leave them alone and let them do them, if it don't work, they'll come back to the way that might work that you showed them. But if you force, this is how you got to do it. This is what you should be doing. How do you know? How well did it work for you? And just because it worked for you, and maybe it didn't, you just want me to do it because it didn't work for you. How do you plan for the future of our young brothers and sisters in this day and age when so much is going on in society? Somebody said to me today, we got to show folks how to vote. I said, no, you got to first teach them why they should. It ain't nothing to go take the paper and fill in a circle and tell them they should. Tell them they should, but why? What is their civic responsibility? So now, my whole thing is, because we got this 16-year-old thing going, I talked to Dr. Bridgeforth, we got to start going in these high schools and elementary schools talking about civics, because they don't teach it no more.
And bring somebody young with you.
And bring somebody young that's aware of, has been properly educated themselves. Because you can bring somebody young to be a face, but they need to hear from that face.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need you just standing up there because you're young and say, see, I got him with me. No, he need to be me with me and opening his mouth, saying something that these kids can say, wow, this brother, Mm-hmm.
Ali didn't choose me. My father didn't choose me because I was his son. He chose me because I have my own voice. And the challenge is, and I'm going to be done when
I'm just on the phone.
A lot of the older cats, I respect them, but I call it a spade, as they taught me. Sometimes your success only points out the failures of others, and instead of letting you succeed, they suppress you. We talked about how they put the knee on the neck and how they got the chokehold. Sometimes the worst chokeholds and knees you can have is from the people you look up to who consistently look down on you. This is a season where we need to lift and not pull down. And my father was one who took the time to help young preachers. He wasn't jealous. He wasn't scared. He always was comfortable in his own statue and stance. And in return, he developed great young preachers and ministers to rise above what people say we cannot do. We should be helpers to one another. We shouldn't be tearing each other down. And the only way we're going to make it, if we get unified and we do this thing together. Division won't get us there.
Well said.
That's what I'm talking about, wasn't it? So we're going to have him back. There's got to be a part 2 to this. I think we got to have him back with his mom.
As we run, I just wanted to lift up last Saturday. I was out of town. I didn't get the memo on what date the street naming was going to take place. But I just want to shout out our city for doing the right thing by giving our brother the street renaming in his honor and how everybody turned out, right? That was beautiful and so well deserved. And it didn't take 90 years to do. We're still trying to get it right for Mary, right? Right? But I got that in, we got that done, and he deserves it. Right on to y'all.
So they said they were taking pictures now? Yeah. Go around that. Outside, right there, a couple of steps.
Let me get out the hallway because I came out for the event to get on the radio.
I'm going.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
guys
Where
for
I'm,
Exceptional.
wait a
having
minute,
me.
and where I'm standing, people are walking up trying to get in without going through the front desk where they need to go. So they looking at me talking about open the door. So I better get away from the door and go find me a corner somewhere.
Because
But
you're not
listen,
the usher tonight.
I ain't usher no night, but I'll be the usher when I need to be. But that way, they
That's
asking me
right.
to
That's
usher. They're
right.
trying to get me to open a door that I shouldn't be opening.
Yeah.
But listen, I got to put on some lipstick and comb my hair so I can get ready for this event. Odyssey International is doing. She's a woman that does great things, non-profit organization. And she's
Let me
honoring
tell you
our
something.
achievements tonight.
That
Huh?
sister Gay helped me find my middle name when she was 15 years old.
Mm.
Who?
Huh? Your girlfriend
Who?
is she called herself, I don't know why she called herself Persia, she African.
Wait a minute, no. You talking about Melissa Oliver?
Yes,
Are we
yes,
talking
I
about the
am.
same person?
Yes,
Mm.
I
Oh,
Out
am.
of here.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's over the Odyssey. Yeah.
Check this out. She came to me
Yes.
15
She calls
years
herself
old
Persia.
with a Mary's name book.
Mhm.
15
Oh
years
my
old.
goodness.
That's right.
She walked around here. We've been partnering doing things for a whole lot of years. We do a summer giveaway. She has her own cleaning business, and
Yeah.
she honors this year. She's on a lot of business and community people. But she has every August, we do a thing where we put all this stuff out in the parking lot of Good Neighbor, and people can just shop clothes, shoes, brand new books, whatever they want, whatever people want to donate for us to give away. And then we do it again at Christmas. And I think we're doing it on December, ooh, is it December 14th? I don't know when we're doing it, but we're doing
We'll
it
look.
again.
We'll look.
We do it
We'll look.
twice a year.
Yes.
And then we do
Yeah.
this event. But listen, this 712, I don't know where your sergeant of arms is at. Jonathan's not on. But I love you, Brother Ed. You are
We got a
amazing.
flight.
Baba, I love you. Donna,
We
I
love
love you. Thank you for including this young girl on this all politics and local number one hip hop political radio. Listen, Facebook Live. Listen, the mayor is having a prayer gathering on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Those of you who can make it on up to West Orange to, oh boy, where's the flyer?
you all right. You're
It's,
fine. You're fine.
it's Nia Fellowship Baptist Church in West Orange. Please, if you can, look up Nia Fellowship and come and join us as we gather to
Is
pray
that
for
on
our
Valley? Is that on Valley?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. 174 take the South Valley. I think you have
Hmm.
two black churches in West Orange, if you got two, but I know you got this one near Fellowship. And this thing, Michael Jackson said it's black or white. Well, listen. When it comes to the state of New Jersey, it's everything. And I tell folks all the time, my religion is personal, but my mission is humanity. That means wherever you fall under humanity, I'm coming for it. I'm coming to do it. I'm coming to get in it. I'm coming to fight for it. And as long as there is a Baba and a brother Ed and a sister Donna and a minister Haqq and Larry Ham, oh, I can just go on and on. That means that somewhere
And don't
along the
forget the
line,
Sergeant at Arms. You said 10 a.m. for the prayer vigil?
10, yeah, be there at 10, so we can
Okay.
start at time at 10:30. I'm gonna send it to you, Donna. I
Okay.
think I said,
Thank you.
yeah,
Let's
and I'm gonna
post it
send
up.
it to
Yeah.
you too,
Let's post
Barbara.
it up. We get it
I'm
up.
gonna,
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna send it to you as
Okay.
soon as I get off this. I think I sent it to you, brother Ed.
He's saying yeah. He's saying he muted, but he's saying yeah.
Yeah, put it up, put it up. Let me tell you something. When Obama ran in 2008, we brought him to Tabernacle Baptist Church, Kelly Ledet. And my brother in ministry, Pastor Jeff Bryan, had about 25. I'm trying to have 100. I'm trying to have 100 folks gathered. That's my number. Praying for our state, our country, but most assuredly for this black man that is aspiring to be in position to help make this state be reimagined in a better way. Somebody ought to say amen.
Amen.
I said amen. I was on mute. I'm right there with you. Amen.
To God be the glory. Thank you guys for speaking truth to power, not being opportunists, but taking the opportunity to speak truth to power, and to be in the work in the best interest of those who are the least of these. Who are the least of these? Well, the Bible declares, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. In the book of Matthew, it says that. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. How about when I was in jail, you came to see me? And Jesus just happened. We asked by a disciple, oh, well, when master, I don't like to use the word master, but that's what it says in KJ. Master, when do we do these things? When have we done these things? He said, when you've done it unto the least of these, you've done it to me. That means if you walk by somebody homeless and you turn and, just act like they not there, you're really turning your eyes and your head towards away from God. When you're driving and you got your hands on 3 and 9, you know what I mean? Take your steering wheel, look at the clock and see where 3 and 9 is, and you don't even look to the right or to the left, and somebody's standing on the corner and they might be in need. I stopped for a guy the other day. He was 81 years old. It was his birthday, homeless, sitting on a corner. You just never know. And the spirit of discernment will say, I think you need to. I wouldn't have known this was his birthday if I had got out and said, you all right, sir? You need somewhere to go today? Then I made a phone call for somebody to come get it. Not everybody has a help spirit. But I
Yeah.
just need to put that out there. So just in case somebody has thought about being helpful and changed their mind, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Because when you've done
You,
it to the
you know,
least of
one of
these,
the,
you've done it.
it's funny you should say that, Reverend Roundtree. One of the actors, he just did an experiment probably right in September or late August. He dressed down, went mid Manhattan, went and sat, and he said it's amazing when you're homeless how faceless and how people just pass you by. And had he been himself, and once he did, it was one person, once he came out of it, just person know him, but to just be dressed down and sitting on a corner, humped over, people just passed by like he was never there.
So I watch all these things on YouTube sometimes, not on purpose. Sometimes I flip across somebody
Mhm.
walking up. I've seen one where the guy said he was looking for a job and could somebody help him with some money. And then they turn around and bless the person that decided to give him $10 to go get some shoes. And he didn't really need the money. You never know. You never ever know. I'm not looking for nothing in return, but you never know. I think every time I do something that's positive that God wants me to do, I think about my son and my granddaughter. I think about them because the truth is, if I'm off the scene, I would want somebody, if they saw them in trouble, to not
Mhm.
turn their head on them.
Mhm.
All politics are local. Coming to you live, Reverend Louise Scott-Rountree, council member at large. Thank you again for giving us this time. We thank Brother Jalil, Miss Our Lady Balena Ali, and Brother Ed.
Checking in on what all
You,
this
you,
water.
you've done it. Well, baby, we didn't have the water for 50 days, so we thank God for the rain. I don't know what water you talking about, but I'm
No,
talking
no,
about.
she has a flood. She said she had a flood on her
Oh,
second floor.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yes, she did. Belina did.
Yeah,
But but
yeah, that's what I'm
but
saying.
I,
Yeah,
I I'm not happy about that water. But there's some folks
yeah.
calling me talking about they are just thankful to God for the yeah. She said the devil is busy. But let me tell you, one woman that knows how
Mm-mm.
to push that person out the window. She be like, going back to hell from where you come from, because you ain't coming up in here. So she handled even the flood with excellence and strength. That don't mean she don't have to spend some money to do whatever she got to do. But anyway, y'all, I gotta go comb my hair and get ready to go be in front of these people.
You said
I
that
love
20
each
minutes
and
ago.
every one of you. Father, thank you for teaching me who
Reverend
you are.
Roundtree,
Thank you.
goodbye. I
Yeah. I
I
love you,
rode past the
Baba.
mansion. We need a tour of that mansion.
Yeah, I
Well,
want to
when do you
use
want
it.
to do it?
Well, we have to.
I'll
Maybe
be
we
there
can
Monday.
broadcast
I'll
one
be there
Friday.
Monday. Okay. Huh?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Monday at what
What you
time?
doing Monday? What you doing? What you doing between Monday between 1 and 3?
Popping up on you. I'll pop up
Okay,
on
meet
you.
me there 1:30 on Monday.
Got you.
Come on,
Okay.
I'll take you 1:30 on Monday.
Okay.
What's up, son? There go another preacher that we have to encourage. Reverend Marquise Akil
Peace.
Lewis is on the line.
Yeah.
He tuned in.
Yeah.
That's another young brother that I always step in and say, I don't care what y'all say. about these young preachers. That's another one of my sons. While y'all, instead of being concerned about where God is taking him, you should be trying to help him get there the right way that God wants him to go. I'm done. That's it. See y'all later. Bless you, bless you, bless you. I hour of the event that I'm supposed to be at, I've been on. I know how to multitask and handle my assignment because I'm not going to not take the opportunity. If I get to one person, Brother Ed, we got to
Yeah.
do this. And if I don't get to them right, you got the legal mind to know how to fight. Talk with you
And
later.
okay, what is
Give
our
Lady
next
Kim
guest
my
here?
love.
Make it work for
Is
you,
it
Ed.
is our
Give
next
Lady
guest
Kim my
here?
love.
Yeah.
No. So Ed
7:30.
Nzai. I got to
7:30 the next guest.
okay, so I have the opportunity to talk to two boxers. So I turned on
Oh,
Netflix at the end of the
Hey, we
fight.
got a boxing segment coming up. You
we got a
you
boxing
save
segment.
this
Okay.
No, you ought to hold on
Okay.
to it.
Hold on. Okay. All
We
right.
got at 8 o'clock. We actually got a brother who,
Okay. I've read okay.
yeah.
All right.
So
Hold the
we
fort.
What you ought to do, Donna, now, former Congresswoman, is give us your take. We've been doing post-election analysis up, up the wall.
Mhm.
What is your post-election analysis? While we
I
got a few minutes.
I I do, as Pastor Jay said, we've been here before. We didn't I don't even think everybody even stood up like they sat up when Hillary ran. People were staring at the TV. It was like it's gonna be what it is. And I think a lot of good when Trump was first elected, when he defeated Hillary, a lot of good came. We came together, we protested. I think we're more ready now than we were before. I am concerned, but I know where the problems are. Number one, as Councilman Roundtree, Reverend Roundtree said, we have taken civics out of the schools. So people are really, really out of the high school. I almost want to say you can really start doing civics from like fourth grade on up. But we don't do that. And I know I'm a high school graduate class of 1985. And we did civics when I was in school. We participated in the races, we handed out flyers. But now, and Senator Rice, know he's smiling on us. Um, he would explain, listen, election season is a short period. In our case, it goes from January up until you raise your hand in July. And after you raise, and then some people raise their hand in January. Well, after you raise your hand, you have a job to do. So those people that are councilmen, are mayors, are at the state level, at the county level, who we don't invite to our schools, let in our schools, those are people who we're paying with our tax dollars, and we should want them to come to our school and have students ask them questions. So when they go to sign that paper, and I know when I was in high school, we had a whole civic lessons, and on the last day of class, we filled out our voter registration. When I was a councilwoman, I had the opportunity to do a voter registration, and we have one of the best clerks. Our clerks came to the high school along with our surrogate and explained, sit down to tables, had the forms on the table, explained to students, and even at that point, because it was 10th through 12th graders, what if we could have done that starting at fourth grade or higher? I think because we don't do that, I know because we don't do that, students in particularly are usually perplexed when it comes to election, and it really doesn't hit them until they have an issue, and they have to realize that it happened because that's how it's legislated. But I see we have a guest on, so we can continue this conversation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And those were poignant points. And that is one of the things that we're going to have to do in the spaces that we control, right? And that's what one of the things that these kind of climates do. This. Now we're a little behind schedule, right? So I'm going to just jump right in with our next guest. She's no stranger to these airwaves. This is Racquel Romans Henry of Salvation and Social Justice. Racquel, you just heard our disciple segment. So it's our clergy roundtable. Now you come from a clergy organization, so I know that
Yeah,
You're not at all uncomfortable. Right.
I'm familiar with Sister Rountree, and she's a bad woman. So yeah, I was picking up everything she was putting down.
But we got to make up some time. We
So,
just
all
had
right.
we just had a situation that is unfolding in Trenton. It's a national
Mm,
story because civics, Donna, right? Trenton is the state capital of New Jersey, but the police are out of control,
mm-hmm,
right? And there has been a federal investigation of policing in Trenton that has been going on quietly for a minute. That has come to a head, and they just dropped their report condemning the patterns and practices, abuses of the Trenton Police Department. So we're
mm-hmm.
one of the Salvation Social Justice, a very important force of social justice in our state, based right in Trenton. And one of our key players on the question of police accountability and police brutality is right on the case. So I wanted to make sure I got that voice in first chance we got. Their policy director is none other than this sharp young sister, Racquel Romance Henry, and I wanted her to jump in and give us a take on that and talk about some things that we need to be doing as a matter of principle and solidarity to help move that needle in Trenton to help them clean up their police.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for allowing me the opportunity to join you all this evening. I think Sister Donna, she set it off exactly right, talking about civics, because I think we find ourselves in a lot of the situations that we're in, not just because of the wickedness of a lot of these systems, but because of that which the knowledge we lack in terms of how to navigate these systems and the civics engagement. So just want to make a shameless plug that a large part of the work that we're doing at Salvation Social Justice involves youth advocacy and civic education. So I just wanted to thank Donna for pointing that out. But specifically as it pertains to the investigation, I mean, what can we say? I mean, the report is damning. It's beyond upsetting. It's incredibly frustrating. But beyond all that, I don't think anybody's surprised with what was in the what came out of the report. I think the most important thing is that we keep the community engaged on what next steps should look like, and just make sure that we keep an open line of communication with the people on the ground, because ultimately they're the ones who are going to have to hold leadership accountable.
So why don't you highlight some of the things that came out of the report, and let's talk about some things that need to happen on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the findings of the report, like I said, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. They found that Trenton police routinely engaged in police misconduct, abuse, that they violated Black Trenton residents' constitutional rights, their civil rights, that they routinely escalated interactions with members of the community, that they were found responsible for several deaths in the city of Trenton. And I think more than any of that, I think probably the most sobering part of the report is that there is a huge dereliction of duty on the part of leaders within Trenton Police, right? So it's not just a referendum on the police themselves, on the beat cop. It really highlights the total ineffectiveness of leadership and essentially the way that leadership has turned a blind eye to this culture of violence, thereby promoting it. It shows that supervisors routinely fail to offer officers with feedback. They didn't offer any discipline when instances of misconduct has occurred. They routinely discourage members of the community from filing complaints. They fail to adhere to use of force, reporting requirements, and so much more. So this is really an issue where I think we realize, the fish rots from the head. This is not about any one or two bad apples. This isn't about any rogue actors. This is a culture of policing that's been allowed to continue because of the failures of leadership, not just in the police force, but I think largely throughout the city.
Let me now. Here's the $1 million question. Because the whole country, I mean, the store is all over the country because Trenton is, for all of us being a small town with small, and the characteristic of a small town that ain't terribly rich either, by the way. It's the state capital of New Jersey, one of the wealthiest states in the country. Have we heard anything from the governor or the attorney general in response to this condemnation by the Justice Department?
My last understanding is that I believe the attorney general declined comment at this time. I believe there are some outlets that reached out to him. I believe he declined comment, and I'm not sure of the governor.
And that's a problem too. That's a problem. I mean, if I was governor of the state, I certainly wouldn't.
They were at the league this week, right?
Yeah,
this was league.
Notwithstanding, if you're responsible for the state, you ain't got something to say about the police in your capital,
in your backyard.
That's a problem. Well, just several things. I just wanted, because I know we got to get ready for another segment very quickly, right? The community. How has the community been? One of the things that has come across in the press that's important, and that's going to be important going forward, is what's going to happen next. Is there going to be a consent decree for the feds really to genuinely put their hands on a reform process, or is there some other kinds of adjustments that are going to be made in terms of oversight? And of course, the big missing link in this whole thing, the elephant in the room that we have been trying to bring the house down with, is civilian oversight. Right? It's civilian oversight. We try and do these tinkering around the edges and whatnot, but it's about putting the public back in public safety. Democracy, civilians are supposed to be control of the military. Those are the conversations. So in terms of the climate and what's on deck for what's happening next, what are we seeing?
Well, a couple of things I want to offer. Number one, I think for in terms of the community, it's very important for them to understand that we only got this far because of them. Right. It's important to remember how this whole thing started. It was September of last year that Salvation and Social Justice hosted a town hall at Greater Mount Zion Church in Trenton, at Greater Mount Zion AME Church in Trenton. We hosted a town hall with the U.S. Attorney Philip Sillinger. We brought out more than 300 Trenton residents to this town hall. And for hours, Trenton residents, one after the other, offered harrowing details about their experiences with Trenton police. And it was from there that we heard the stories, many of the stories of abuse, over surveillance, wrongful arrest, and just, stories that are just heartbreaking, right? So I want to first commend the community for the courage that it took and the resolve to come there and offer their personal stories, right? Because we know that when victims of violence have to retell their stories, they are re-traumatized, right? So we want to first commend the members of the community who did that. And it's important to remember that it was only after that, less than a month after that town hall, that the investigation was launched, right? So largely because of those members of the community who showed up, we were able to see the launch of this investigation. And within a year, and I mean, on the ground, a year feels like a long time, but in reality, a year for a federal investigation of this magnitude, that's not bad. That's not bad. So they turned around these results within a year. So now it's important for the people in the community to remember and to keep their expectations measured. So I want to offer a couple of things. Number one, we have to remind people that this is not a criminal investigation. This is a civil investigation from the DOJ. What does that What does that mean? That means that there aren't going to be any arrests, right? That's not what justice is going to look like in this instance. The DOJ cannot arrest anyone as a result of what came out of this findings, right? What they will do is that they will go into negotiations with the Trenton Police Department, and they are going to work out a list of reforms and policies and practices that should be implemented in order to reform the existing system. Now, to those of us who know, that is less than satisfactory, right? Also, we know that because of the culture of Trenton policing, we know that most likely they're not going to adhere to any agreements, right? You're probably going to have to fight them to get them to comply. So then the question becomes, what do we do on the ground, right? Well, there's a couple of things we can do. Number one, we know there's a big gubernatorial election coming in 2025. We need to make sure that we are out there and we are activating our vote. That's number one. Again, back to civics, right? Why that's important? Because with this next upcoming federal administration, we know that many of the checks and balances that have been in place through the federal government, allow the protections that allow a DOJ to come in and do investigations and hold police departments accountable for this level of abuse. A lot of that could be undermined, right? So who we put in office in 2025 could make the difference between setting up the necessary guardrails to protect our communities from what has become an increasingly hostile federal government. So that's number one, making sure that we're out there voting for this next gubernatorial election. Number two, to your point, Baba Zaid, is these establishing the civilian community review boards. It can be recommended. It likely won't be through the DOJ. So we in Trenton, we in the community have to make sure that we are holding the Trenton local municipality, the government, making sure that the city council is being held accountable and that they are fighting to establish those review boards through local ordinance. So that has to be part of the conversation. I think the other part of it is pressuring state, county, and local governments to increase their funding and their supports and their resources for community-led alternatives to policing. We need to be promoting and supporting community-led models of public safety. We know that Black communities are the safest communities when they significantly minimize their police footprint. Right. We know the safest communities are not the communities with the most police, but the most resources. So we need to increase our funding for those community-led crisis response teams. Again, not just at the state level. We need to see counties, we need to see local municipalities in investing in those programs as well. And then I think maybe lastly is that on the state level, we have Senate Bill 2348, which is a use of force bill. And what it would do is essentially codify the use of force directive, requiring any AG to review the use of force directive every 2 years and make adjustments as necessary in furtherance of its core and primary principles. So we want to see that legislation move because, again, that could be one of the few guardrails that we have strengthening the protections for our communities in an increasingly hostile federal administration. So those are some of the things that we can do on the ground. But largely, in terms of a time frame, we can expect that negotiations can take anywhere from several months to a year, during which time we probably aren't going to receive a lot of updates on the ground. So we should be prepared for that. And that should not deter us from doing what we have to do on the ground, from applying the pressure.
Here's a but, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, see, right up the highway in Newark, New Jersey, we've been through this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a blueprint that Trenton can follow to
Mm-hmm.
a considerable degree. And one of the important components of a meaningful police reform effort also includes community engagement.
Absolutely.
It includes the community engagement. There should be regular reporting on how certain things are done and how certain things are how change is being implemented, right?
Mm-hmm.
And community needs to be given room to have feedback on whether or not that is or that ain't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's some very basic places to go. I put in the chat your response, Rhaqel, right, for salvation and social justice on that. I have to develop a response for the coalition, and I'll try and have that by Monday, where we can, try and bring these things together. And, we got to figure out how we can really help our folks on the ground.
Absolutely.
Right. So I want And I just want to also reemphasize the point that you made about community-led alternatives to policing.
Community-led
What we
alternatives.
do. We just had a big forum on Monday, and those who participated in it, I want to appreciate you and thank you around our fight to get the Seabrooks Washington bill properly implemented. That's the bill that's supposed to pilot community-led critical response teams instead of police-led response teams when it comes to folks in mental health crisis, so we don't lose another Victoria Lee, another Najee Seabrooks, another Andrew Washington, another Major the third, and the right. So we can put an end to that list and get people the help they need. And of course, we both are in cities that share street teams doing some serious work on the streets and bringing this violence down.
Amazing work.
All without the police. We said it before, we said it again. Invest in us.
Invest. Absolutely. Put your money where your mouth is.
Right on. Right. Y'all want to ask any questions real quick? If not, we have to give Rhaqel the ritual question.
You muted, Donna.
No, it looked like Ed, you were about to ask a question. I'm good.
Well, so listen, we definitely want to thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Your contribution to the show tonight. And we are a political hip hop radio talk show. So, when you out there doing this work, I mean, what is it that you listen to from the hip hop genre that keep you motivated and keep you pushing forward?
Yeah, it could be a toss up between Dead Prez and it could be a toss up between Dead Prez and Black Star.
Okay. Are you from the Trenton area?
Nah, not originally. I'm originally from New York, but I grew up right out here next to Plainfield.
Because I'm looking at you, look a little like MC Light, but I'm like down in Trenton, poor righteous teachers.
Okay, all right. That's true. That's always a pro.
I'm surprised you didn't say pop.
That's always a pro. Well, you see, I had to throw out my Brooklyn rap.
All good, baby. All good.
Love and appreciate you, Baba. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love and appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Right?
Peace.
Oh yeah, let's get it in. Let's get it in. Right, and now I got two powerhouses, and both of them are with us for the first time, but we need to fix that because they're both very dear to me and dear to this work, and really been putting in some serious work for some years, and I'm very proud of both of them, and their work is about to get real heavy, and it's about to make all our work real heavy, right? This country in this comfort with racism and racial privilege and patriarchy and all and capitalism and all that other toxic stuff. Just put a lunatic in the White House, right? Who's going buck wild with all his loony well-to-do friends and get ready to implement his agenda. There's a side of me that's really just kind of licking at the chops so they can mess everything up so we can clean house, right? But at the same time, I'm saying that guardedly, because as someone who's had the painful and challenging responsibility to have run an armed paramilitary organization, I don't like casualties unless it's going to make a difference, right? And what we're facing is already threatening to have casualties amongst our people in big numbers, and we need to prepare for that. Mass deportation, what's that going to look like? It's going to look like everybody on this line. That's what it's going to look like, and we need to be prepared to deal with that. In the
I think if we recall, we don't have to think. We can just go back to the history because I believe that was one of Trump's biggest first actions. They start showing up on people's jobs. They just start showing up in places that were supposed to be safe havens. So we know what it looks like. It's just going to be that amplified, I think.
And let's talk about what it looked like and how folks are responding and how we need to respond. We got Nana Gyamfi, Black Alliance for just immigration, and we got Serges, Demefack, right? American Friends Service Immigration Justice Project, right? Two veterans of this front, right? And both intimately involved in our struggle in so many ways. Nada, why don't you big picture this for us? You're the lawyer in the house, right? Why don't you big picture this conversation for us in terms of what this means on the national front? Then, Serge, I want to come to you because we got some things that are going to get ready to happen right here in Newark. Right here in Newark. That we need to deal with, right? That I don't think folks are really ready for, right? And there's some things that we need to do here in Jersey too to try and push back on that in terms of the Immigrant Trust Act. But Nana, go ahead. Why don't you open this up with big picture in this and give us your analysis on what this is going to look like?
Thank you so very much, Baba Zaid. Thank you, everyone, for having us on. I really appreciate that. So it's going to look like chaotic harm and orderly harm, right? What we do know is that 46 and a half and his Trumpanzees are absolutely into chaotic harm. They like to do things that make people terrified, panic-stricken. That's why they like to project, right? For those of us that do martial arts and engage in martial things, you don't project. You don't tell people, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Unless you have a sense that you want to terrify people. That's what bullies do, right? You want to frighten people who you think aren't going to be able to do much about it, right? And so that's one piece of what we're going to be looking at in terms of the way that some of this is going to happen with immigration and the way that it's going to impact Black migrants. There's going to be sort of a shock and awe piece, which will be like, if, day one, he had a Muslim and African ban. And we call it over at Baji the Muslim and African ban, because at the time, over 80% of the countries were African countries, right? People from African countries. So we know really what that was, okay? And so that's a shock and awe. You're at the airport, suddenly you can't leave. You're stuck in whatever country you got to stop in between to get over here. You get here and they're not letting you in the country. Family members are, thoroughly upset. And as we saw happen with the Muslim and African ban, the call was being made for Farsi. The call was being made for Arabic. There weren't calls being made for Somali. There weren't calls being made, right, for the particular dialects of Arabic, even that are spoken in Sudan and some of these other countries. And so we, Black migrants were really kept out of that conversation, except for those of us who were pressing as Black folks to make sure that we were doing what we did to protect our communities. So it will have a chaotic aspect like that. The chaotic aspect of going to people's jobs, trying to run raids. I think people don't recognize that there are plenty of Black migrants who are farm workers, who work in the North, right? Work in Maine, work in Boston, that work in the South, in Georgia and Florida. When we think about it, when the dominant culture, even the dominant culture within the immigration world, and we'll talk about that later, when they talk about immigrants, they just present like brown immigrants, generally folks who are coming from Mexico, Central America, South America. But obviously those are not the only immigrants, and they're not the only migrants or immigrants who are working agricultural work. They're not the only ones in factories, right? And so there's going to be that chaos. But what we really need to be careful of, and I'm so glad that my brother's here to talk about what's happening in Jersey, is the orderly harm. 76% of Black migrants who are deported because of contact they had with the police. It is a police to deportation pipeline, not because Black migrants commit more crimes, just like African Americans don't commit more crimes. But, we are Black people. So we are over-policed. We are over-arrested, right? We are overcharged, over-sentenced, just as all the other Black people in this country. It's just that at the end of that process for us is never a go home. It is a be deported. It is a permanent exile and separation from family and community in this country. And so moves like the Trust Act, discussions of freedom cities that Baji has put up as the proper, I would say, alternatives to sanctuary cities. This idea that we have to stop all of this on the criminal sanctions enforcement end, because that's respectable. And people are not going to mind that. And so we're going to see what we continue to see now, which is this disproportionate deportation and separation of Black migrants for them families and communities, which means separation from African Americans, because that's who we're with, that's who we're marrying, that's who we're hanging out with, that's who we're working with, going to school with, etc. Breaking up Black people. And I'll stop there. There's much more on detention as well. But, just to give the picture, there's going to be that chaotic harm, and then there's going to be that orderly harm. And the orderly harm is frankly what I'm more concerned about. The chaotic harm brings everybody to the yard. It's the orderly harm that people allow to happen quietly.
Have now. That's a great way to pivot, right? Most folks who are listening to this show, they will know that Delaney Hall means incarceration for our young people, because that's what it's been. They may not know that Delaney Hall is being outfitted to house, and I'm using that word, with some angst, getting ready to house 600 to 1,200 people who they are looking to detain through a fresh ICE contract. Now, where's Delaney Hall? It ain't in Texas. It ain't on the border. It's right here in the East Ward of Newark, New Jersey, right? And so some of the stuff that we're talking about is about to be played out right here in our community. And then there's so many things underneath this that we need to appreciate. I just left St. Louis, the land of Dred Scott, where it was Supreme Court ruled many years ago that the Black man has no rights that the white man is bound to respect and should never be considered for citizenship. If you think that thread doesn't tie to what we're talking about, I want you to reanalyze that. And we got the two folks here to help us reanalyze it and give you some real things to think about. Locally, so Serge, I'm going to turn to you now. What is this going to happen? What's on the ground for resistance? How are we dealing with this thing that's looking to come this way in terms of Delaney Hall and this new wave of stuff from ICE?
Yeah, good evening, Zaid, and everybody else. Nana, it's a pleasure meeting you. We are in the trenches. Definitely, GEO is actually, as you all know, a national corporation traded in Wall Street who is planning to take on this new task of building one of those egregious places to hold our brothers and sisters. They are pushing very hard. And as we all know, many years back, I believe that's about 8 years ago, Delaney Hall was actually housing immigrants. And it was a framework set up to appear as if it was something set up by a local organization, a local non-profit organization, designed to literally incarcerate folks under the quote-unquote framework of a community space where they will detain people in good conditions, to allow them to be processed, via ICE. And the reality is that that place was not fit for people, and people were working there as staff were mistreated, and they were called some crazy names as if they were doing some very important jobs there, but they were suffering themselves. So staff and detainees were all victim of a system. And guess who was the staff and who was, the detainees? Our people. So, and that's something that people need to understand. Folks who are in detention are suffering big time, and we know the circumstances that are bringing them to the United States. It is because the circumstances in their country of origin are primarily very bad. And some of these conditions, those bad conditions they leave behind, have been facilitated by the developing world, including the United States. So, when it comes down to making sure that people can live their lives, people are going to do everything to better their lives. They're going to take some crazy ships to cross the sea, as I've seen from Morocco to Europe. I was there some 12 years ago to witness that. We've seen people here, even some of our black folks leave the Caribbeans, go through, leave Africa, land to Brazil, and make their way up on foot, crossing the Daring Gap, and this is something that, so before they land in a jail, in an immigration jail in America, they've been through hell. So by the time they're there, they are vegetable. They are sitting ducks, and they're just waiting to be killed right there. And so everybody within those jails are traumatized. You cannot really get a very sensible information to know exactly what's happening in their life because they can't really tell you much. What they need is help. They need treatment. So Geo is going to open this center to create another farm for our people to sit there and just wait for the final result. Either that they are dying there as they are doing most of it throughout the countries, throughout immigration jails and other prisons, or they are being deported back to countries where they come from, and they are going to be seized from the airport, tortured and killed by the regime who pushed them to leave the country in the first place. So this is just like the context of how people are landing here. Now, what happens from now on for us here on the ground? We are trying to organize. I recall you spoke with the director of NJAIJ, New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, and you probably heard a lot about the plan. We are organizing, trying to push back, because we've always done so. Over the past few years, I think 3 or 4 years, we've pushed hard for all the detention centers run by our local governments to close down, thanks to the support of Senator Gordon Johnson, who's currently also sponsoring another bill to help us with the Immigrant Trust Act that I heard you mention about in the introduction. So again, we are not going to be backing down, and this is going to be the fight for our lives. If we don't stand to protect our community, nobody will. We must be the front line of this fight. And that has been history of every community want to free itself. It has been the history of Black folks in America, regardless of their origins or how they land in America. We've always fought, in the history of this country. And we're going to continue to fight, to put that fight also in our own records. I don't think that out there we feel secure. We're terrified. I must say the truth. We are terrified about what's going to be happening with number 47. I dare calling his name, coming up in power right now. So we are ready to protect ourselves. We want to fight. We want to be on the picket line. We are going to be, talking to our local legislators, to people who are giving them space, to people who are allowing them to have a business here in New Jersey. And just so you know,
it's a business.
Yes, because for them it's a business. Geo, who's planning to run this center, the detention center, their stock went through the roof the day after
Trump was elected.
Number 47 was elected. So, I was looking at it and I couldn't even believe it. But that's real. If you go back, go to yahoo.finance.com and you will see. It is almost like people are sitting out there willing to take blood money and believe that life is all good. With that kind of money, you cannot prosper. And we are going to make sure the blood of our ancestors continue to speak and make sure they pay if that money touches their plate. So what I want to say is that we are committed, and we are going to continue to push for other form of legislations here in New Jersey. First of all, start making sure we implement the Anti-Detention Act that was passed with the support of Congressman Gordon Johnson. He's now a senator. We managed to pass that. And that legislation actually stops any detention center to be built or to continue to conduct business in New Jersey. So we're going to make sure that it is enforced. And we're going to make sure that our people are protected, that they feel safe. So there are many different dimensions through which we're going to make sure that our people feel like they belong here, they need to live a quiet life and prosper as well.
So let's lift up some things very quickly. Just action items, because I know there's some days and some action items that want to happen in Trenton. You want to lift those up because we want to mobilize folks and get them down there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we're trying to push for this Immigrant Trust Act legislation, which is a major legislation designed to limit the interaction of ICE and our communities. Basically, the act itself is going to replace the so-called Attorney General Directive. Mm-hmm. The Attorney General is law enforcement, authority number one in our states. And we've seen over time that those directives do not protect immigrants, period. In fact, they're just directives. If you're familiar with all the nomenclatura of all the laws out there, if it's a thing that you can follow it or not, it's up to you. And if but when they become law, we can actually hold our local government, our law enforcement, our authorities responsible if they attempt to circumvent it. In fact, there are reporting guidelines attached to these directives. So they are going to be applied straight as any other laws in our state. So we are planning some events in Trenton. I don't think the final deadline is out yet, but we're going to be rolling out through the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, the whole schedule, because they are a coalition of more than 50 different organizations, and that are going to be put out there, activated to go out there and fight. So when those days are ready, I'm going to make sure you are aware of them, Zaid.
The New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice did include in their last blast out announcing the latest dimension of this move that's getting ready to happen at Delaney Hall, that there is going to be an organizing call on December 3rd, right? So what will come out of that call will detail exactly what we're talking about. Ironically, December 3rd is the 60th anniversary of the epic debate of Malcolm X at Oxford University in front of a very international audience, where that was that first wave of Asian and African and Caribbean immigrants coming into London, right, during the anti-colonial era, right? It's amazing how things go around and come back around, right? So we're going to look forward to how that meeting rolls. I definitely will be participating in that meeting, and I will be sounding the drum. Now that you've been in this fight for a long time, and you've been in the trenches and so many of our other fights, I can't even name them all. National Conference for Black Lawyers. Whenever I see you, we beating up on the police for what they do right here in the streets, right? And you do that from New York to Los Angeles. I'm so proud of you, right?
Thank you.
So, I mean, as we go out, what in terms of things that people need to be looking forward to do in terms of solidarity actions, what are you seeing? What are you suggesting that folks need to get ready to do?
And Nana, Nana, don't forget to just mention some of the orderly chaos. I know you said there was different types of chaos, but don't forget the orderly. Okay, thank you.
No problem. So yes, first of all, I'm going to invite people to follow Baji, BAJI. That's the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. You can follow us on Instagram. We're still on that. The Twitter, we don't know how long we're going to be there, but you can follow us there at Baji Tweet. can follow us on Instagram at InstaBaji. You can go to our website at baji.org and look for the opportunities to be able to join the work that we're doing. We fight for the rights of Black migrants and African Americans, right, through advancing racial justice and migrant rights. So we were started by group people who were African American from the Caribbean, from the continent. This is a Black diasporic organization, understanding that when we advance migrant rights, when we advance racial justice, that, we're advancing on behalf of all of our people. And so there's the solidarity has got to be there. We have got to think not in a way of competition. I know there's a scarcity mindset that this system of capitalism, this system of white supremacy, right, that it creates this imperialist system where you think, okay, there's only so much here, and so we're going to fight for that little bit. And meanwhile, they're eating, they're just shoving so much food in their mouths, they don't know what to do with themselves, right? While they've got us, scrapping on the ground for the bones. And we have got to stop and to look at them and to say, that there are some basic things that we need as human rights. Migration is a human right, absolutely. Freedom is a human right, right? And so as we look at Black liberation and at our Black liberation struggle, we understand that the right to housing is a part of that struggle, that the right to health care is a part of that struggle, that reproductive rights are a part of that struggle, that queer rights, that environmental justice is a part of that struggle. But we also have to know that the right to move, to be able to go from one place to the other. The great migrations 1 and 2 that were done by African Americans were to escape political, economic, and social terror. And that is exactly what is happening with Black migrants who are coming into this country. And so we have a shared understanding. Some of it, which that, as Serges said, was built in this country, and some that comes from our perspectives of fighting for our lives and fighting for the liberation of our people, that we need to bring together. We know how to fight authoritarianism because we do it on the continent. We know how to fight neocolonialism because we are doing it on the continent, in the Caribbean, in South America. So we know how to do that. We need to work together to make that happen. And, Baji's ready to join with others to make it occur.
And the very makeup and essence of Baji's character is so, one, Pan-African, right? And as we get ready for Malcolm's centennial, he would love that. I was getting ready to say something else, but Malcolm didn't cuss. He was more disciplined than I am. Right.
And remember, his mama was from, let's not forget, his mama
Grenada. She's from the Spice Island of Grenada.
Okay. So when we're talking about Malcolm, we are talking about the epitome of Pan-Africanism, right?
Yes. And that means you're talking about migrations. They get married in 1919 in Montreal on the heels of a big migration from the Caribbean to Canada.
Absolutely.
Right?
Speak on it.
It's all there. It's all there in the sauce. So I need to have
his father was a Garveyite, right? Was his father
They both okay. Get this straight. That you raised it. Let's put a pin in that. They both were serious Garveyites. They were also a part of an underground network that took care of Mr. Garvey and their leadership when they came under fire from the state. They were dead serious Garveyites. She was multilingual, contributed to the Negro World newspaper, and was one of their secretaries in several different settings. They were cold, serious Garveyites, very intentional about who they were, and that's why they faced the terror that they faced and that Malcolm and his sisters and brothers had to survive when their family was torn apart. So they said, as they tear apart, we bring everybody back together because that's the solution to the question, that's the answer to the question, and we ain't going nowhere.
And let me just add one other piece. Sorry, Baba Zaid.
No.
The community is our refuge.
Yes.
The community is our refuge. And we have to remember that. Our first line of defense and offense, that's what African martial arts looks like, right? We avoid the blow and we strike, is community. And so, yes, part of the community power building is so that we can be on the heads of these various elected officials, and we have a robust civic engagement aspect to Baji. We want to do that. We want to be able to keep folks in the glass houses of power, understanding that we will yank that glass down if necessary in order to do what we need to do. We want to co-govern with those folks. When we talk about someone like Senator Johnson, that was helpful, right? We want to see how we can work with such people to make something happen. But at the end of the day, refuge is in us.
That's right.
We know that. That's the history of this country. That, you know, right now in the age of who gonna check me, boo? We gonna check you. It's not the checks and balances of government. We already know that that is not really who keeps our community safe. We know that that's not really who takes care of our people, that it is us. And so you know, we're also making having a discussion as Baji of this push against the individualism.
Come on.
That has people saying, well, I'm going to vote for this person because I remember I got a check. A stimulus check, or I'm going to vote for this person because I think it's better for me, for my business, right? Or I don't like transgender folks. I think that's nasty. So that's why I'm going to vote for this person. So it's like you're going to sell everybody else out because of your personal feelings, right? And that is not the way that Black people have operated. We have always been the ones that have been clear that we have to stand on principle and on integrity. And, you know, I hear people saying they're tired of Black people doing that, and we need to stop doing that, and we need to start being discriminatory, and we need to start throwing people in the trash, or we need to start turning our backs on folks. No, we don't. We set the standard for of humanity, because we're the first humans. We set that standard of what humanity looks like, what it is to be civilized, what it is to be moral. And we cannot turn our backs on that now.
On the shoulders of our ancestors. Let me ask you this one last thing, and I should have put this more up front, and I'll charge that to my head and not to my heart. We've got already, and these jokers ain't even took office yet, right? They're trying to ramrod through Congress a bill that's going to now come after organizations that, quote, support terrorism. Very arbitrary, right? Now we know the frontal attack of that is the Palestinian Solidarity Movement, right? It has already harmed the Cuba Solidarity Movement some years ago, and I got comrades still trying to deal with that. But let's relate how broad that impact can be, right? And each of you can respond to that, and we'll wrap up.
Well, I mean, if I can just chime in, it is shaking the whole, set of organizations that are protecting migrants or who are pro-Palestinians. And even if you don't say you're pro-Palestinian and then you've posted something out there within your profile that talks about protecting the rights of the people on the move, the rights of Palestinians, it is, look, most organizations, I mean, I'm sure you know that the AFAC has a program in Gaza. We have we have it is the Ramallah School that's funded by supported by the American Friends Service Committee because it's a Quaker organization. So it's something that is costing us already. So we are losing funding, but I mean, we have certain moral principles, right?
Yes,
not just as an organization, but as people, because there are certain things that we must know that it has certain limits. We cannot keep just crushing and kicking the people who are already laying down. I mean, it's something that is just unbearable. We must be on a certain footing. In fact, right now, I could see a lot of U.S. officials already feeling ashamed because they're out there setting these limits by, Israel, that Israel is not even looking at. They set up the limits. He doesn't look at it. It's like, okay, this was your timeline. What's happening next? Nobody cares. But I think at some point, it's all about, where do these organizations who say they have certain moral standards, where do they stand? Because we are all seeing now who are the people who have those moral standards. Look, but those who believe that our standards, the standards of Black folks out there, the standard of the global African community,
come on,
is way high up there, are going to be at that level. Those who believe that, like Nana put it, it's all about me. We're going to see how far they are going to go. Because number 7 is coming in. And if our folks think that this guy is going to make their life easy, they are yet to know the real guy. You know, they are going to be in for a big surprise of their lifetime. And, you know, we need to understand when someone tells you that they don't love you, they don't care about you, in fact, you are trash, you need to get that the first time. You know, it's not like he didn't say it through any filters. This is a guy who doesn't use filters. We must be very aware, and we need to build our solidarity, because Black people throughout the world are feeling the heat anywhere. I mean, you talk about the war, you know, happening in Europe. You know, we've seen Black folks being put on the back of the line. No, you're not taking that train that's going to get you out of the war zone, right? You know, you're going to stay here, but everybody else is going to leave while you were just there to go to school. And this is a situation that you know, we face with the war in Ukraine. A lot of Black folks were forbidden to leave. They were shunned. They were put at the corner of some farms because, you know, Europeans thought that you cannot actually leave. In fact, they were forced to fight next to Ukrainians. And they were like, look, we were here to go to school. You know, I'm free to go to. I was paying my tuition here. And this is what is happening throughout the world. We know the treatment we're going through, you know, when we're out there in Asia. So, and we see what's happening in Europe. I was in Morocco in 2011 and trying to find out more about what's happening with Black folks trying to go to Europe, how they were being blocked there, how they were being mistreated. And that was a situation that, I mean, I literally watched a guy that I have organized a soccer game one day. At the end of the day, I heard the guy took the boat trying to cross to Spain. And the next day I was told that the guy passed away along with two other comrades.
Yes.
So, and then I could not even believe this was just happening to a guy we play a game the day before.
Yes, young brother.
So, and in the meantime, Morocco, you know, was not even giving refugee status to people coming from sub-Saharan Africa. So you have these set of rules, unspoken rules that, you know, they are like Mediterranean countries are receiving cash to block Africans from moving. And then I said it, moving is a natural right for anybody in the world. Nobody's going to stop that. In fact, there are more people on the move now than they've been, you know, many centuries ago. And that's something that's
wind up here. We got another guest coming on. And I got to get back to both of you and have you both on. The bill I was referring to is HR 945, right? They're trying to ram that through the House now, and you know, we got to push back. We've had some Jersey congressmen, and one wants to be governor, right? Y'all remember the name Josh Gottheimer?
Yep,
wants to be your next governor.
Yep,
an unapologetic Zionist, right? Yes. Right? Who the
up there in Bergen County,
right? Y'all need to let him hear from you. You know,
and he's supposedly a Democrat.
So yeah,
I mean, there needs to be a push with all of the senators, and people should just keep their eyes open for, because there's petitions coming through, there's letters coming through, there's going to be calls that are going to be made,
coming through.
There's money coming through. But on our end, I'm talking about in terms of the community end, we have the capacity. We're going to have petitions, we're going to have calls, we're going to have opportunities for people to really put these senators to the wall. I mean, yes, it has passed the House. There was 52 Democrats the first time it went through. It didn't happen because they needed a 2/3 majority. It went down to 12. So from 52
that's right.
12, and that's because we were on them. So Adam Schiff out here in Cali, McBath, Congresswoman McBath out in Georgia.
Was on the wrong side.
On that list.
And Nana and Serge, and that's where civics come in, because democracy is a participant, and everybody's experience isn't the same. So I'm sure those senators who said yes the first time was just doing it by consent because maybe they didn't know. So it is our duty to educate them and let them know that they're there to vote for the concerns of the people and not for something that just flies by their desk. So that's great.
Okay, so that was on the House side. Now it's moving to the Senate side. We allegedly, are in a situation in which the Democrats have the majority in the Senate, even though it's a very slim majority for right now, but it's also led by Schumer. Need I say more? So there's going to have to be a lot of pressure that is placed, because it's not just labeling someone. And I know you got someone coming up behind, so let me just end with this. It is not just taking a tax exempt status and you don't get money. Now I'm wearing my attorney hat. If you are labeled as an organization that is supporting terrorism, they're coming after you criminally. They're going to seize your money and they're going to take you to court. So this is something that everyone needs to throw down on. It's not just if you work with Palestinians or immigrants or, the different groups that that folks are coming after, because this is happening in a Biden administration. So you can imagine what will be happening in a Trump administration. Let's not be confused. This is happening in a Biden administration. And he could sign that bill if it came through because of the pro-Israeli position that he takes. So we are going to have to come after and, be on top of these senators in a very strong way, in an organized way. Again, not an individual one by one way. Look out for the organized ways that people are doing this. Baji and others will be joining, and join the organized front against this bill.
Right on. Right on. I'm going to ask you a question and let's wrap it up.
And Serge, Nana, thank you for being here. We hope to have you back soon. This is a hip hop political show. So when you're out there doing the work that you're doing, what hip hop artist, individual or group do you listen to inspire you? And if you have an announcement, either one could go first.
So I would say it's like an old and new type of situation, right? And so when we're talking about folks, I always have the women's back. So I'm like, Latifah will put on some old stuff, and put that on. Make sure that gives me some kind of energy, right? And gives me a vibe. But I live in LA. So, we got to talk about Kendrick Lamar, right? And those, and particularly because there's a political aspect to him. It may not be political in like a Pac kind of way that's like in your face political, but it definitely is, he talks about things in ways that allow our people to be, the cultural to be a wave that we can ride our thoughts on. And so those are the two that I would put at the top of the list right now that I am listening to in this work. And I got some other folks from the continent and the Caribbean when I just want to get my joy on.
Share that though. No, share that. This is open. We want to hear all of that.
Well, I mean, you have like a bunch of the Afrobeat folks, like, who are also bringing in some of these rappers and some of these artists. And so it's usually a combination, right? So the folks that are working with the Burna Boys of the world and the folks that are working with the Stone Boys of the world, who is more like a dance hall type of vibe, but bringing those connections with the music that's happening here, and also with that spirit of hip hop into the world. I think it's really important.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fela is huge to
Serge.
I mean, he's not really hip hop, but absolutely.
No, yes, yeah. Well, all of that. Come on, sir.
I think I'm a more old school. I mean, I'm just in the what we call the world music. I mean, I still love to hear, some of these, Manu Dibango, Soul Makossa type vibe, and obviously, Bob Marley with all his freedom songs. I mean, before I go to my rally, I just listen to that very, very, it gives me energy. It boosts me, and obviously we have, some strong 50 Cents, that I learned. I started listening to 50 Cent when I was back in Africa, and sometimes, I would go down to Boys II Men, which was something that when I was in college back then, I mean, you will be sleeping in a dungeon, but when you listen to that, it's like, wow, people can really sing this good. So, but still, it gives you this kind of energy where you feel like it's uplifts you. And most of the time, it reminds you about how powerful We can lift mountains without even sweating, just by listening to someone else and feeling empowered with some of that music. And one of the last things I just want to quickly say was that, I want to say that, with the impending Trump stuff, we are really talking a lot with the community, doing a lot of Know Your Rights sessions, that we are doing in partnership with the Newark African Commission, AFSC, the city, all other local communities, because a lot of our folks just need to understand that we have their back, that we're not doing this on our own, a way that they understand that they can call on us. So, and sometimes we go to these places, we start with music. We put some music before we start some of our meetings to feel like, yes, we are all in this together. We're going in with positive spirit. So thank you for having me today.
All right. Thank you both. We're going to have you back on, right? It's a powerful set. We got a lot to do. So this is the moment we've been chosen for, so we got to get up, train up, and get ready to bang. Right? United Front.
I forgot to add, Stomp of the Great. Stomp of the Great. Put that sister on. She should be on right now as we're going out, Baba Saeed. Love you both. Love all three of you.
All right, y'all. All right. Naseed. You muted.
Hey, brother. How you doing? How's everyone? Peace to everyone. How y'all doing?
We're crazy as hell because we're running late. It's all good, but we try to catch up. Y'all jump on in and let's get it at it.
Peace. How's everyone?
All right. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. How you doing?
You both. Good to see you both.
Yeah. So talk to me. What's the beautiful conversation about today?
Well, y'all the guests. Y'all supposed to be telling us, right?
Okay. All right. Well, let me start by introducing myself. I'm Nasir Graham. I'm actually the boxing director for the City of Newark. I'm a retired professional boxer, formerly ranked number 9 in the world. I've been on big stages such as HBO, ESPN, Showtime, and trained with guys like Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya, a few other guys. Winky Wright, I fought some years back. So now what I do is run boxing in the city of Newark for Mayor Ras Baraka.
So what's coming up, man? We got to have you back on another time. We got some real time to spend with you because Ed and I both we put in our work on that front too.
Before
that.
Oh, absolutely.
What's coming up though? You got something coming up?
Yeah. Actually, tomorrow I have boxing tomorrow here in the city of Newark at JFK Recreation Center. The mayor usually does 4 shows a year through me, pushing to support our youth who's looking to get into the art of boxing or showcase their talent in the art of boxing. And so we have a show at JFK tomorrow, 2 p.m., which we have about 19 to 20 boxing matches. We invite the whole city out and other cities. We have guys that's coming from New York, Philadelphia, some from Washington and Connecticut to come and compete. We have the ages of like 8 years old on up to 40. And, they like to come and showcase their talent. And we try to give them a platform and a stage to be able to showcase the talent. And it's actually free admission.
Really?
Yes, free admission again.
That's the right price.
Yeah. You can't beat that price.
Right.
And thanks to I always gotta give him kudos, Mayor Baraka, man, when it comes to pushing things in the city of Newark, he's amazing. I've been working for the city. This is actually my 25th year. So I've been through 3 mayors. And of course, I won't say nothing bad about any mayor, but I love Sharp James. Like I mentioned, the mayor between them. But Raz is amazing, man. He truly is. He's truly amazing. And we have 4. We actually have 4 boxing gyms that's run in recreation. Throughout history of boxing and amateur boxing, it's always been run through the PAL. Yes. Which it's always been fees and money, and everybody don't have that. So what Raz did with that was really, really ingenious. Is that I was working in the court system with the chief judge in Newark, And he said, you know what, man? He said, I know. He said, I'm starting a boxing program in the city of Newark, and with your level of experience, and you're a guy that I trust. He said, I need to take you from the courts and put you in charge of boxing. And so we started off with one gym, and the program has grown to where we had to open up 4 gyms in recreation. Boxers has usually never been in recreation. So now we're seeing other cities start to implement the same thing, putting boxing in their recreation department, so that the kids, we can get the kids off the streets, give them an opportunity to have a platform to showcase their boxing talent.
Now, Nas, are these bouts are they all amateur or they're professional?
These particular bouts are all amateur bouts, are sanctioned by the New Jersey set of USA Boxing. We have the first black boxing president for USA Boxing, and she's a female. She's doing an amazing job by the name of Miss Jackie Atkins. She's wonderful. She's a sweetheart. I call her the queen personally, and she supports boxing and in every way she can. She stands up for New Jersey hard, even at the national level, even at the Olympic level. She goes hard for New Jersey.
And how many bouts do you have tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have roughly about 19 to 20 bouts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going from what weight to what weight?
Oh man, these guys are from 65 pounds on up to 240.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And tell us where it's going to be again, man.
It's going to be at 211 West Kenny Street, Newark, New Jersey, at the JFK Recreation Center.
And just some Vondas for your soul food eaters.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Say again, brother. I'm out of here.
I said just up from Vondas for all our soul food heads.
Yeah. So the 2:00 p.m. the first bout goes in the ring, and we're gonna have an exciting time, man. We're gonna have a real good time, and we usually get the community out. That's how we try to, we combat the nonsense that's in the street with gang violence and kids, getting this, because boxing takes up a lot of time. So if you're trying to truly be committed, you don't have time to be doing the nonsense. You're either in school or in the boxing gym.
That's right.
And
train.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
We definitely want to have you back. I just wanted to make sure we got you on tonight so that we can let everybody in the community know about this last event. Last boxing event for the year that you put on. And I told you, Nas, you need to be commended, brother, because you're doing the work, man, for those of us who are not basketball players and those of us who don't play baseball, but those of us who know how to work with our hands like you, right? And so because the street doctor was doing that when he
that's my man. May God be pleased with him and rest him, man, and may he live greatly in paradise. Yeah, street doctor used to come up to the gym and see me sometimes, and we would talk, and whatever I can do to help him, and he would bring me guys, send me guys to guide, to help, especially if the young men are in trouble, and had some run-ins with the law. If they had criminal charges, I would be the one for them to sit down and talk with, mainly because I was a troubled youth myself. I was facing 10 years in prison when I was 18 years old, and an older brother got me into boxing, and I was a guy who a lot of our youth, we have hot heads and stuff like that, and he told me, he said, "Listen, man, I believe you're gonna win the Golden Gloves." Not only did I win the Golden Gloves, surprised myself. I won the Diamond Gloves, won the Golden Gloves. I was at the Nationals with Antonio Tarver, Floyd Mayweather, David Reed, Fernando Vargas. And then within the next 7-8 years, I was fighting on the top 10 in the world level from just starting in 1989. By 1998, I was ranked number 9 in the world.
Yeah, what weight were you fighting at?
Huh?
What weight were you fighting at?
I started out at welterweight, and I ended up maxing out at super middleweight. But I did my best work at 154 junior middleweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, we definitely gonna have you back so you can have this old boxing conversation. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody.
Absolutely. I heard the sister mention Sampa the Great, the artist.
Yes.
She is. I don't know if you guys ever heard her. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Her music is beautiful.
Yeah.
Sampa the Great. She's a rising star from Africa, man. Yeah. That sister is, very, very, very gifted. And I listen to her music a lot, bro. She's very talented. I have a son who's a platinum selling recording artist. Actually, his birthday's tomorrow. He'll be 33. But so when I heard her mention music, okay, I was like, oh, wait, we're talking about music. What's going on? But yeah, but that's what it is, But anything that I can do to assist and we can get help the youth out in every way possible if they're interested in boxing, even not just dealing with boxing, just sitting down talking and getting their mind together, because a lot of our youth are really troubled. When you become a boxing coach, I didn't know I was going to fall into that, but when you become a boxing coach, you actually do more than just coaching. You end up becoming a social.
That's right. All of that.
Yeah,
you taking care of kids for real. That's right.
Yeah, you got to be able to give them the time to talk, and then you got to listen to them, not just talk at them, but actually listen to them and hear what they're going through.
That's right.
Because a lot of our youth are going through stuff, and it's a lot of peer pressure that they deal with. And I'm gonna be honest with you, brothers, this social media thing is killing us,
man.
It really is. It's really killing us, and but with the right connection, you know how they say, and I'm glad you brothers had me and invited me on. I'm really honored, because it really does. I used to hear it, but I didn't really see how much it meant when I heard it. When they say it takes a village to raise a child, that is really, 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 that is seriously true.
Yes, it is.
Because what my son may not get from me, I'm just dad. But I can tell him one thing, and you can tell him the same thing, but he'll hear you more than he may hear me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So by all means, please, whenever you guys are having this again, give me a heads up. I do have a busy schedule, but listen, I always try to make time when it's something that's positive and necessary. I'm not one of them. I'm a very humble person, man. And when I'm never too far to touch. And Ed knows that. I always try to come out to try to support when we try to get some possible, especially for our youth.
Yep. Well, listen, man, let's say that where this is going to be again tomorrow, and what time?
It's at JFK Recreation Center in Newark, and it's 2:00 p.m. The first bout goes in the ring at 2:00. It should last up until about 6:30, 7 o'clock at the latest.
Well, I'm definitely coming through, man. I want to relive my youth, so expect to see me, man. I'm coming through and enjoy some of the.
Yeah,
I gotta be in New York. I'm gonna miss
it. Say again, brother.
I gotta be in New York. I'm gonna miss it.
Oh no, don't worry about it. We're gonna do, God willing, we're gonna do more next year. I usually do them in the summer time where we have them outside. And one of the reasons I do them outside is so that the people, the citizens of the city, can see the kids can come by. They see little kids in the ring boxing, and they see the big trophies and the belts. These kids will get in like, wait a minute, he's getting up and fighting. I want to do that. And that's how I try to, suck them into the gym to get them out the streets.
Yeah, and next time you come through, Nas, we want to spend more time on your story, man. Particularly about how you ended up where you are, man.
Right.
And really talk about how you went the other way, because even as you look at that brother up top right there, brothers believe that brother right there is a vice principal, man. You know what I mean?
God bless him. And what school?
I'm at science part.
Science High. One of my best friends that I grew up with is a principal. His name Mr. Hollis Bird.
Yes.
He was the principal at Weequay.
Everybody know Bird.
Yeah, that's my right hand man. That's my right hand. Actually, me, him, and Raz, we were young teenage friends. We used to swing out together. And that's my man. Good. Yeah. So, and if, brother, if you ever need me to come talk to any of the students, I've spoken at West Side, Weequay High, Shabazz, Peshan, a few other schools I can't even remember. I've spoken at quite a few schools just talking to the youth about some of the peer pressure and, you know, the things that they don't realize. Because what happens is that they don't realize they're getting into situations, you know what I'm saying? They're getting into a car and they don't know the car's stolen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, situations like that, they think they just, you know, I'm just getting in the car. He just dropped me off home. Next thing you know, they're in a car chase and they don't know why. You know, so if you ever need me, brother, please, by all means, reach out. You know what I'm saying? It's something I do feel a responsibility that is something else to say about you.
Yep. Well, that's absolutely right. So Nas, I want to appreciate you, man, for taking time to come through and you know, tell us about the event. We definitely gonna keep it, you know, keep pumping until we go off tonight at 9 and look to see me tomorrow, man.
Okay.
You know?
All right, brothers. God bless you. Have a good night.
Thank you, my brother. Peace,
you got
man.
it. Peace.
Peace.
All right, brother Naseed. Thank you, my brother, for sticking with us, man. You know.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, I definitely want to commend the brother Nas. He's doing phenomenal work in the community. I actually had the opportunity to attend the boxing exhibition that he put on in the summer outside of City Hall. You know, for those of you who didn't get an opportunity to experience that, man, that was phenomenal to be able to see the youth come out, the whole community. I mean, yeah, DJ, he had the whole community engaged, and he did it right in the middle of Broad Street, right in front of City Hall. So that was phenomenal. That was definitely phenomenal, and I'm definitely familiar with his work.
Good, man. Yeah, well, I'm gonna experience it myself tomorrow, man. I'm gonna go by and you know, get an opportunity to spend some time with those young brothers who are like me. You know, had not have been for boxing, man, there, but for the grace of God, you know, who would I be? You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, those things saved my life, like Zaid's life. You know?
Man, hell yeah, we got some stories to tell.
Yeah,
and I wound up I was probably a better trainer than I was a fighter because I knew what I was doing and taking care of our knuckleheads in playing field. You know, it's you know, that was my gateway to teaching. Coming out of the ring.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So now, brother, let's talk about what you're here to talk about, my brother.
Got your new book, right? I want to hear this.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, just to introduce myself, Naseed Gifted, educator, writer of an Afrofuturism series called Jazen, The Rose That Grew from the Concrete, which is our Afrofuturism adventure set in the near future, where Jazen, who shortly after making a breakthrough for the cure for cancer, research oncologist Jazen lie handcuffed to a hospital bed, close to death, while authorities attempt to question her about a shootout on Renaissance City Turnpike that claimed the life of an anti-terrorism squad trooper, only to discover that the cost of the cure, that only to discover that the cure is going to cost more than the lives it's going to save. So this is the Afrofuturism adventure, and we're actually doing a book signing. You know, we just launched this book. We're doing a launch book signing at Source of Knowledge tomorrow from 12 to 3. So you know, we're super excited. You know, it's a blend of exciting story, poetry, social justice. I mean, all merged into one dynamic storyline and everything, man. So definitely super excited about this particular product. This is actually the cover here, you know, as you can see. And when we talk about Jazen and we talk about the rose that grew from the concrete, we know that, you know, just even with that analogy, and a lot of people are already associated with Tupac and, you know, and everything, but you know, for something as delicate and impressionist and beautiful as a rose, to be able to survive the challenges and struggles, to be able to navigate through, you know, and blossom through concrete, you know, that's kind of like that's a storyline in itself. And you know, and it's definitely a reflection of, you know, some of the, so I write these Afrofuturism tales, but I incorporate so much stuff from you know, our lived experiences from our past to what we perceive the foreshadowing of our future. Because she's a research oncologist, you know, I kind of tap into stuff from Dr. Africa, you know, where we talk about, you know, the body, which is the ultimate machine, right? Where it has auto repair sequences, and we talk about frequencies. So frequencies being able to activate that. So we kind of get into that, on a surface level, but when you go deeper into it, you know that, when we talk about harmonic frequencies and stuff, that is actually used to put us, back into our, our natural meridians and everything, when you get into, when you want to get into those things. And then just the sciences, talk about Henrietta Lacks, within that, and the research that was done on her, and then how, they're still using her cells for cancer research. We kind of touch into all of those things within this graphic novel series. So besides, like this dynamic storyline and everything, it really has a lot of, factual research that's actually put into this, just from the creative team, building with research oncologists, everything that I try to do within, our graphic novel series is always STEM related. So, we got this logo, STEM inside, just like how you would say Intel inside. So it's a STEM inside in there. So, it's always the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics aspect within there, but not taken away from the actual story and everything. So it's incorporated. And then, of course, with the symbolism and everything else, we try to keep it, true to our ancestry and within the African diaspora.
Now, are you doing a reading tomorrow as well, Brother Nasir? Are you going to be reading?
Yeah, well, being it's a graphic novel, we are going to read some of the page, but we actually have a blend of poetry, so we're going to actually be doing some spoken word that's actually in the book. So being that she's going through this struggle and this emotional places, she was, and I know Brother Zaid would appreciate this, and I don't want to give away too much, but that you are very familiar with this particular story because of the hero that I modeled this character after, and I don't want to give too much away, but
I got to feel it. Look what you just said already.
Yeah, the Renaissance City Turnpike being questioned about the death.
I got it.
You already know where I went with it, but now it's in Afrofuturism tale. And then, with the blend of poetry and everything, we're going to have some readings. We're going to, of course, showing the visuals from the actual book. And actually, I wanted to see if I can actually show something, if I can present. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can actually present. So let me hold up. Got a video file. About to pull this up real quick. Oh, did I download it? Oh, yeah. Hold on. Got a little something for everybody. There we go. Now let's see. I might have to can I put it on stage or?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I have a whole long, video series with that and everything, but that's the part that I wanted to kind of showcase. And we're going to actually, like I said, tap into this even on a deeper level tomorrow, with regards to everything that's going on within this universe. A lot of the stuff that we do is tied into a lot of the foreshadowing that we kind of see just based on this whole world that I put together, within Renaissance City is actually my futuristic Newark that I kind of, but I actually tied in a number of neighborhoods from Southside Chicago, Brooklyn, like all of these different urban centers are the different neighborhoods within this particular realm or this particular universe. And within the first series, PB Soldier, we live in a political climate where everyone is actually considered a terrorist and they have a certain terror threat level. And because they have a certain terror threat level, they actually formed a newly formed world government called the Establishment. And Jazen is actually the individual who actually forms resistant groups across the world, to be anti-establishment. So, it kind of gets into her whole origin story within that. And because of the popularity of PB Soldier, her character within that, allowed us to be able to spin off into this particular series. And I believe, not just because, I'm involved in a project, but people are going to gravitate to this even further because we have a whole campaign tied behind, young ladies, empower her, young ladies learning about research oncology, and a path to be able to find a cure, holistically, and everything else that's also tied into this, because this is a billion dollar industry, as far as the monies that's being raised, but it also connects with so many people because from my personal story that, I lost a number of individuals, family members, individuals that were really, really close to me to this thing called cancer. And, being able to, kind of come up with ways holistically to come up with alternatives to the cure, that goes beyond chemotherapy and, and other things, so that also is another thing that's tied into the storyline and everything, to just be able to begin to have those type of conversations.
Beautiful, brother. Powerful. And underneath all that, teachers bear witness. Those are layers of teaching tools.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always visual learners. I mean, and that's why I like this medium, to be able to teach them, because from conception, we've always associated words with pictures, right? And then as we get older, we start taking the pictures away and just do the name word association. But when we talk about the, how you learn the upper sciences and maths, then it becomes more abstract and you can't develop these mental models.
Mm-hmm. Did I miss the part where y'all say Mike Tyson
models, now you can't connect with the actual concepts that are actually being taught. So people, stray away from those things, and and they say, "Oh, I'm not, I'm not good at math," or whatever the case may be, and and they may go into more of a liberal arts or whatever type of realm with it. But understanding that the mathematics and everything also has visual pictures and should be able to be mentally conceived, when you are actually doing certain things. You should be able to see the math and the sciences as a way to be able to do this. And then a lot of this stuff where I talk about activism, how do we, and as far as Afrofuturism, we talk about how do we predict our future. We talk about the past, we talk about all of the issues and struggles that we deal with in the Black community, but how do we depict what we want for our future and for our children and the individuals that's going to follow behind us? And that's where I want to kind of make sure that we have those conversations within the storyline.
Naseed, I just want to ask one question. Did you like chemistry?
Did I like chemistry? Somewhat.
Yeah, you did. I mean, because like you were just saying, like, you got to see it. And I remember going to chemistry class and was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, like the social and all of that, I can go but the sciences, I think it's just something I think you have to see. And I know chemistry was one thing that intimidated me.
And the root of it is to know.
Mm-hmm. You're going back in time.
Okay. No, that background and I look at problems and I look to solve them. So that's pretty much what it is.
And I guess if I had a teacher like that, or you or Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, it would have been different. But science,
very different. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because you got to be able to make those connections. I mean, the one thing, especially being engineer that transitioned into education, my connection with young people was the fact that I was able to see things differently and being able to, connect physics, like when you talk about physics and you talk about Newton's first, second, and third law, or you talk about a distance time graph, right? You talk about that, you talk about derivatives, Derivative of the distance is velocity. Is change in distance over time. But then when you talk about the derivative of, and I'm connecting math and physics. So now when you talk about the derivative of velocity, which is the change of velocity over time, you get acceleration, right? So now you just being able to make those connections, like, okay, well, how do you feel when you're driving in a car and you speed up? When you slow down, when you put your head out the window, like those type of things, are ways to be able to relate to content. I actually, besides me, being the educator at Science Park High School, I travel the country, talk about Afrofuturism and tech and, the graphic novel series. But I actually came up with a workshop called How Spider-Man Taught Me My First Physics Lesson.
Yes,
I grew up liking Spider-Man. Yeah, I grew up liking Spider-Man, but I use that workshop because of the fact that not as an educator, we talk about entry points, right? And we talk about access. And because Spider-Man is easily accessed and people can relate to who Spider-Man is, the content that I give them behind that, they can also connect to because they understand Spider-Man, And then I talk about Newton's first, second, third law, momentum, impulse, all of these different things within that, but using it with Spider-Man, it's just different things of how you are able to teach content, that's relatable to the level of understanding of the individuals that's in front of you. But I take that same Spider-Man lesson and I could take it. I could teach that to third graders as well as college students.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Because it all depends on and like I said, it's all about entry points. It's all about access.
And Brother Naseed, what time is this book signing tomorrow?
The book signing is at 12, from 12 to 3 at Source of Knowledge.
And
867, 867 Broad Street.
Good stuff.
And what did you say people get? What are they going to get when they get there?
Well, they're going to get an experience when they get there. We're going to have poetry readings. We're going to have music that inspired the book. Of course, you're going to get creative insights. And then, of course, you'll get your signed copy. So it's not just, us there signing the book. We're actually going to give you experience, give you some insight on the thoughts behind the actual, creation of this actual project. And then, we're going to have some individuals speaking the spoken word from the actual storyline.
It sounds like it's going to be exciting, man. I think you
loaded.
My whole Saturday, man, trying to make sure I hit all of the spots tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you got to go downtown and go up the hill a little bit.
Yeah. I wasn't even planning to come. Hey, Naseed, I wasn't even planning to come at 12. But you showed that little clip. I'm a little excited right now.
Yeah. I mean, we got to show the people, that this is all possible. I mean, and I'm really excited the fact that the first graphic novel we actually have that adapted into an animation that we're going to be, putting out next year, in a number of festivals and stuff. So, it's just growing and growing, and and just kind of building from that.
Well, man, we definitely, congratulate you on the book, and
thank you.
And I'm definitely going to stop through tomorrow. Wasn't on my schedule, but I just wrote it down, so I'm coming through, man. And then I got to shoot back uptown and watch some boxing.
They're close by, close to each other.
That's true, right? So I'm gonna try to put it all on the agenda tomorrow, man. So,
yuck.
Yeah. So the ritual question, Brother Naseed. We're gonna ask.
Yes.
Let Rhino do it, because we ain't seen Rhino since 1930.
Yeah, Rhino, ask your question.
Let Rhino ask the question. That's true. Rhino been waiting too long.
Naseed, what's good, brother? How you? You doing all right?
Peace, man. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man.
Yes.
Good to see you, fam. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, brother.
It's a political hip hop show, and so we got to ask you the question. Who in hip hop are you listening to right now that inspires you? It could be new, it could be old school, but who inspires you right now to do what you do?
Oh man, well, I got two answers for that. One, I mean, in the hip hop, I mean, and we're talking about crossing over. So I'm in the Afro beats, listening to that. So I'm listening to Tim's, I'm listening to Burner Boy, and all that. And then, the person is inspired. You know what? A sleeper album. I listened to it and it was actually super dope. Common and Pete Rock. That album. If you haven't got a chance to listen to that, man, that's a gem. Yeah. That is definitely a gem. The Auditorium. I listened to that. So, I think I told y'all this the last time. My artists, even though I'm listening to Tim's and a couple of other people, my artists go from 2005 and back. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't get into all the. I mean, besides Kendrick, Kendrick is like my only like new guy that. I mean, and Kendrick is not even new. He's been like 10, 15 years in the game or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But I like the Commons. I like the, the Talib Kweli's, the Most Defs, all of those individuals. Dead Prez is some of my individuals that I listen to that inspire me. Then you get into the Bob Marleys, you get into the Tribe Called Quest, and all those other ones. Lauryn Hill, Jilly for Philly, Jill Scott, and then I even go back to Gil Scott Heron in the Last Poets. Those are some individuals that help inspire, because I actually have a soundtrack when I'm writing. So like I listen and kind of infuse a lot of that stuff into it puts a rhythm to my writing. So it puts a rhythm to my writing, and I love that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good stuff. I got to put something in your ear. I'm gonna reach out to you in a little while. Next year, I want to go. I want something to give your creative juices flowing, and I definitely would even like to even help you with on the presentation level if you ever give something together. But and it's close to what you're already in the ballpark. Right.
No, definitely. No, I definitely appreciate it. Always looking to grow. I mean, I was at Afrotech last week, looking to learn and grow as always, man. Lifelong learner. That's it.
That's what it is. That is what it is.
Yeah.
Good to have you, black man.
Nah, man, I want to thank you guys for having this platform and
you. You muted Ed.
Nah, man, thank you for having this platform. Thank you for having me on here. Each and every time. I love the consistency and being able to reach out to community and be able to talk about the issues and everything, and then building and growing it and being able to come up with solutions, for how we can empower our people to move forward.
Yep. Well, we definitely appreciate you, man. And we can't say how proud we are of you enough. That you always being creative, man, and and everything you do make us feel proud about who we are. So I thank you for that, my brother.
No, thank you. I mean, I'm just doing what the Creator put me on this earth to do, man, and I'm just thankful and humble. One of my biggest things that like you get into education and you don't, it's a thankless job. To be honest, but you get these moments where you could say that, like, wow, I didn't realize how much impact I had. So I did a talk today at the statewide EOF, Educational Opportunity Fund program. I was a panelist for alumni, and I'm talking about, my experiences through the EOF program. Well, in the audience was two of my former students, and one of them came to me and just thanked me for, one, being a black male educator, as yourself over here, brother, and just being able to, kind of set a standard, be a model for them, and introducing them to, STEM and technology and everything, because I was a big stickler on that. So I'm just I just was on a high, like stuff, like I could get an award for something and not be high off of it. Like, yeah, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. But, those little things is stuff that, that really just, touches the soul. So I'm really thankful for those type of opportunities and everything.
Well, yep. Well, thank you, my brother. We appreciate you, man. And, I'll definitely come through tomorrow. I'll see you down there, tomorrow to get my signed copy, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. And then anybody else, please make sure you come out tomorrow. Source of Knowledge with the good queens.
12 o'clock.
Patrice and Masani, who has lent their space for us to be able to do this book launch.
Yep. So we'll see you tomorrow, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Peace.
All right. Peace, brother.
Beautiful.
Rhino, what say you, brother? Hip hop. What say you?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling?
Boy.
Missing in action, brother.
Man. I ain't seen y'all in a while, man.
What's the t-shirt say? Let's say Pokey. What's your t-shirt say? Red man. Okay.
But but before we get started, the other brother Nasir, he was mentioning something, man. I've been in that situation before when you riding around in a stolen car and you don't even know. I've been in that situation before, man. You know what I'm saying? That's hectic, man. And at the time I didn't know, but I found out maybe a day or two later that it was a stolen car that we were in, and the whole thing went down and all of that, man. But we were just that quick, just a snap away from getting caught up in something like that. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yes, right.
And you heard what he said. He said he was facing 10 years. Man.
Yeah,
man.
For being
and it can happen just that quick and easy, man.
Rhino, do you remember the movie Newark Drive? Do you remember the movie Newark Drive?
New Jersey Drive, yeah.
Oh, it was New Jersey Drive. Okay, yeah, but it was about all the stolen cars.
Yeah, about stolen cars. Yeah, a lot of people in Newark didn't like it because they got a lot of things wrong, but
it's like it's coming back around.
Yes.
Yeah. But also I want to say they brought up Tribe earlier. I want to say congratulations to Tribe Called Quest. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg. Congratulations to Tribe Called Quest for their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's pretty big and pretty huge. A lot of times I don't really deal with those kind of awards. I like the awards that come from the people more, but still that's a huge thing for them. So I want to big them up, as well as Mary J. Blige, who's considered the queen of hip hop soul. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna shout out Mary J. Blige as well for her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wow.
A couple of people mentioned Sampa the Great earlier. I just want to say, Sampa the Great is huge. I think she's from either Mozambique or Zimbabwe. She's from one of those areas in
Zambia,
Africa, but Zambia. Oh, okay. But yeah, man, she's incredible, man. Sampa the Great is incredible, man. Definitely check out her music, her catalog. Period. I want to shout out Raekwon real quick because Raekwon just opened up his dispensary. Broad Market is called Hashatoria. It's right around the corner from Market Street, on Broad Street. It's called Hashatoria. He just opened it up. Was it last weekend? Diamond D and Do It All and Fat Joe and all of these folks and celebrities were there for the opening. Yeah, they came through. Yeah, so that was a big deal. So definitely go. Those who are into the cannabis culture, man, definitely go down and check it out.
Have you been there?
Go down there. They got the guards out there. That's how they do it. It's secured. So go down there correctly, man. But big ups to Raekwon for finally getting that off, because I know he was trying to do it before, and then he was dealing with some struggles and making that happen. But things actually came through for him. So big ups to Raekwon.
By the way, Rhino, is that our first actual cannabis store in downtown Newark?
In downtown Newark, I believe so. Yeah, I know there's one on Bloomfield Ave. Yeah, there's one on Bloomfield Ave, heading more towards North Newark.
No, there's one on Branford. There's been two on Halsey, so no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know about that. I didn't know about that. Yeah, all I knew about was I knew there was one on what is it called? Rise. That was on Bloomfield Avenue towards North Newark. But
Halsey's like one of my favorite streets, and there's a lot of new businesses. It reminded me of when I was a kid. That's why. Okay. Sorry, Rhino.
Okay.
but big ups to Raekwon on that. The Red Man shirt right now. The reason why I got it on today is the anniversary of his second album, There Is a Dark Side, which was a huge classic. But for some reason, you know how the internet is. They always want to rehash things and start all of this stuff up. So now they're talking about whether There Is a Dark Side was a classic or not, and all of this. My personal opinion was that I always loved the first Redman album, which is called What the Album, which came out in 92, 91 and 92, I believe. That was my personal favorite. There Is a Dark Side was definitely a favorite, mainly because of what was going on in that era, because Jersey hip-hop was really strong at that time, and that was during that time, when he Naughty, Latifah, Lords of the Underground, like everybody, Outsiders, everybody, Fugees was coming out of Jersey at that time. So There Is a Dark Side was part of that period of time, you know what I'm saying? And that was his second album. But I remember wanting that second album to sound more like the Rockefeller remix that he had put out, produced by Eric Sermon. Sonically, I wanted it to sound more like that, but I didn't get that until he put out Muddy Waters, which was his third album. And he's talking about putting out a Muddy Waters 2 coming up soon by Redman. So look out for that. We've been waiting for Muddy Waters 2 for a little while as well. But happy anniversary to There Is a Dark Side. Today is the anniversary for that album. It came out today in 1994. Another album that came out today in 1994 was an album called Behind Bars by Slick Rick. This was a time where Slick Rick was actually in jail. You know, we were talking about deportation and all of that stuff earlier in the show. This is when Slick Rick was facing that right now. He was in prison at the time. He was in prison at that time. Yeah, it's crazy, right? We talking about that now. Yeah, and this is the anniversary of that album. He recorded music for that album from Behind Bars. Wow. You know, and which is why the title of the album was Behind Bars. So today is the anniversary of that album as well, which also came out in '94 on this day. So big ups to Slick Rick.
Put something from that album on the page, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
That really brings the whole night together.
Yeah, man. It brings it full circle, right? It's crazy. And then the last thing I want to close. I don't mean to close out on on this vibe, man. But we've been losing folks, man. And what I want to just say again, we've said it before on this show. Please, I don't care what generation, what age you come from, but please just take care of your mental and your physical health, because we are losing too many people too soon, and it's overwhelming, man. It's really overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on, even me and myself, my personal situation, what I've been dealing with, which is why I haven't seen y'all in the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of stuff going on, man, and our people, man, we got to take care of our mental and our physical health, man. It's very important that we take care of that, man. We lost DJ Clark Kent, who was a huge icon in hip hop, man. He was the dude that put Biggie and Jay-Z together, and when they did Brooklyn's Finest, and they were going to come together and put together the commission and all of this stuff, man. Clark Kent started off, he came in, he was the DJ for Dana Dane. That's how he got started, man. But then he went in and got into doing production and doing all this other stuff. And he kind of became a connection guy, because he was the guy that really put artists together and linked them up, and great things happened, just from those connections. You know what I mean? So rest in peace to Clark Kent. I think we lost him to colon cancer.
Yep.
So again, take care of your physical.
Preventable.
Exactly. Take care of your health, brothers and sisters. Take care of your health, man. We lost a brother from the West Coast, Safir. We lost Safir. I remember me and my brother Tane One, rest in peace. We used to love Safir. There was a song he had called "Light Sleeper." We used to always play that song, man. But Safir, I'm not sure it was. Okay, no. He's. I was about to say he was connected to Ice Cube, but he was definitely one of those guys from the West Coast, man. Who he was kind of underground. He didn't have like no super big hits, man. But but he was one of those dudes who was super lyrical. Definitely had a dope vibe. You know what I'm saying? He stood out a little bit from that whole West Coast gangster thing. You know what I'm saying? He had his own kind of energy. You know what I'm saying? But I just heard we lost Tim a couple of days ago. We lost Safir. Rest in peace to Safir. And honestly, man, the craziest thing is just before I got on to talk to y'all, I just got word that we lost TJ Swan. Wow. TJ Swan from the Juice Crew. TJ Swan was the crooner, the one who sang all the hooks for Bismarck. He also sang hooks for MC Shan and other Juice Crew songs. But he's the one who sang "Make the Music with Your Mouth, Baby." Make the music. Right. That was TJ Swan. He sang "Nobody Beats the Biz." Nobody beats the biz. That was all TJ Swan. TJ Swan sung all of those hooks for Bismarcky, MC Shan. He did stuff with Big Daddy Kane, all the Juice Crew stuff. He was the crooner.
He was our East Coast Nate Dogg. Okay.
Exactly. He was that dude, and we talking back in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just before I got on, I'm scrolling through, the internet, and we just lost TJ Swan from the Juice Crew. So I want to say rest in peace to TJ Swan. Yeah, man, that's all I got, man. I don't want to go too far over time, but that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for the night, though.
Lenny.
And how old was TJ Swan, man?
I gotta see. How old was TJ Swan? That's
what's interesting is that DJ Clark Kent and I was actually business partners on a venture, man, when he was with Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really? We actually were producing a radio show, oddly enough, called The Bomb. And that was in the early 90s. Man. And he was actually being managed by the manager, whose sister was in charge of all the management over there for Flavor Unit. And he was being managed by her at the time. And she was one of my business partners, and she put us together. And we had actually, I'm gonna let y'all hear it. I actually still got the original stuff that he and I did when we were in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But it's funny though, Rhino, because I think I got maybe one or two cassettes somewhere, but it's actually on the reel to reel.
Yeah.
Like
back in the analog days.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I got to go back and have that stuff, now translated to digital. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I got the actual reel that me and him worked on back in the day. Yeah. But yeah, man. So listen, it was a great show.
TJ Swan was 57. TJ Swan was 57.
Young man.
Yeah, all these cats going out in their 50s, brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
I think Haqq was like he was like 57 years old too. So
yeah.
But you're right, man. All of us need to go to our doctor's appointments. All of us need to try and stay as healthy as we possibly can. Check ourselves out. Do that, and so forth. So, want to give a big shout out to John Austin. Y'all know he's getting married. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. I got to book that weekend.
Yeah. So it starts a lot like it's about to happen.
I was getting ready to get my tickets and found out I got to work that weekend.
Oh wow. Yeah. He and I did
when
our
fitting.
It's gonna be on the 7th.
Yeah. That's Saturday. The first weekend.
December 7th?
December 7th.
Okay.
Yeah. So just want to say shout out to him. He and I was doing our fittings yesterday, and starts to become real when you start getting clothes and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Start spending money for plane tickets and all of
That's
that.
That's right. I tell you, I was getting ready to get my ticket and I got the memo.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to work that whole week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do my best to take some pictures and get them to y'all. Let y'all see what's going on. And want to thank Donna for putting all my travel arrangements together. Appreciate all the work you put in for us, and so took away that headache from me. So thank you very much. And so listen, Zahid, let's just go on and thank everybody tonight. I want to thank obviously the disciples for coming through. and thank their guests. Who they had
brother,
on.
Pastor Jay.
Yeah, the young brother who is the pastor elect.
Pastor J, yes.
Huh?
I said Pastor J, yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like he's going to be a dynamic young brother, that's going to bring some fire to the ministry. So I want to wish him a lot of luck. And Zaid, you want to thank the other folks who came through?
Man, Racquel Romans Henry, Salvation and Social Justice. I'm very proud of. She was one of my babies in the New Black Panther Party. And she's really matured and really, really doing some very powerful things. And I appreciate what she's doing. Very proud of her. And Nana and Nana Gyamfi and Serge Demefack, both of them, very unsung, but been putting into some serious work on a number of fronts for a long time. But on that particular front where we need some strong voices, they've definitely been there. So I'm glad we had them to lift up, what this whole thing around immigration and deportation, how that gonna look in black? You understand? We got a clear picture of how that's gonna look in black and how we need to, be united to try and do what we can to save some lives and keep some families from being busted up. So yeah, it was good to have them on. Had them back too, as this progresses.
And then, of course, we want to thank our brother Nasir Derrick Graham, who's running the Newark Boylan Street Recreation Boxing Program over there, and encourage everybody to go out and see his last boxing show tomorrow. It's going to start at 2:00 and go into about 7. It's going to be at the JFK Recreation Center, 211 West Kinney Street. That's 211 West Kinney Street tomorrow. Saturday, November the 23rd. So we want to thank brother for coming through. We're going to look to have him back so me and Zaid could have a long distance boxing conversation.
Yes, sir.
What those days used to look like for us. And then, of course, we want to thank brother Naseed. And of course, his event is going to be tomorrow at the Source of Knowledge downtown at 857 Broad Street. It's going to be from 12 to 3. I'm going to look to get by and purchase one of his books and get his signature on it for the All Politics of Local Crew. So we'll get by to support that brother tomorrow as well. So, we're going to make that happen. So thank him. And then, of course, we want to thank you, brother DJ Rhino, for making it back. We were praying for you. We're glad to see. Hope everything is well. And, keep your head up, brother.
Still working on some things, you know what I mean? It ain't all over, but we working through it, man. We working through it.
Listen,
real quick, I also want to say, because a lot of people ask me if if anybody in hip hop is actually talking about what's going on now in the world, like what's going on with the election and everything, what happened with Trump. You can go to YouTube and look up a song called "What Has America Done" by Chuck D and Consequence. It's Chuck D and Consequence. It's a song called "What Has America Done." You can look for that right now on YouTube. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick because I know a lot of people they like to know.
Is Charlemagne considered a part of the hip hop community?
Charlemagne?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. He's been a part of hip hop radio. He's been part of rap radio.
He's doing a lot of discussions about it now. And he's actually putting something on.
Him and Angela Rye. Y'all know about Native Land Podcast, right? Y'all know about that? Native Land Podcast, Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, and Andrew Gilliam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, y'all gotta check it. It's on YouTube. You can go to it right now as soon as we finish. Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, and Andrew Gilliam. They've had a podcast. On Native Land Podcast. It's like ours, but it's so strong, man. Please check it out, man, when you can. It's been going on for a while, but they put new episodes up every Thursday, and then they also got mini pods and stuff in between. But check it out, man. It's real. It's a real deal.
What is it called? Say it again. It's called Native Land.
Native Land Podcast. Native Land Podcast. You can find it on YouTube. And that's Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, and Andrew Gilliam. Andrew Gilliam used to run for office down in Florida. Tiffany Cross and Angela Rye, both of them on CNN and MSNBC. So, yeah.
Yep. And Donna, you got
so
any
Angela Rye and Charlemagne's been doing a lot of linking up and doing a lot of talk stuff too.
Good.
No, only thing I would say, whatever you will be doing with your family next week, I wish everybody a safe, short weekend for those who don't have to work and who will be with their families. Remember to take care of yourself, especially those over 50, because it's not easy to go into all rooms and still be healthy. So be careful and be safe and be wise.
Yep. Well, there it is, y'all. Another edition of All Politics Local. We thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week. Next week is the first
day
show.
after the holiday.
Or that's not an extra week for us, is it?
No. I mean, but we got to decide that.
Black Friday.
Well, we got to. I guess we'll think about what we're going to do during the week. We'll come up with that. But nonetheless, y'all, we thank y'all for tuning in to All Politics Local. We'll see y'all, next week. If not, we'll let y'all know what we put up. But anyway, as my brother Zaid would always say, what we going to catch him, Zai?
Catch him in the whirlwind.
Catch y'all in the whirlwind.
And you don't stop.